If this is your first time or your usual time with us, then welcome to XboxEra. We provide a platform for the Xbox community from our forums and Discord, our main site with the latest news and reviews, and our podcasts like the XboxEra podcast and You Had Me at Halo. We exist, our focus on the Xbox platform front and center, because so many media publications out there don't. We love this community and believe Xbox really can be the very best place to play. If you love what we do, help us. You can join as a YouTube member, or even better, subscribe to us on Patreon. You help us grow and get plenty of perks to enjoy as a token of our appreciation. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. And as always, thanks for sticking around. This podcast is brought to you by executive producers Torn Raptor and Topp. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 175 of the XboxEra podcast, the Xbox-centric publication funded by you guys, our lovely community. If this is your first time with us, welcome to the channel. If this is your usual time, then brace yourself for Nick getting really cross about how much Starfield we speak about today. If you enjoy what we do, please consider supporting us directly on patreon.com/XboxEra or becoming a YouTube member right now. I'm joined, as always, by Special Nick.
What's going on?
And as always, with Jesse here as well. Hi, Jesse.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry, they decided to cut my internet out, or my power out, literally right before I was about to hit go live. So perfect timing.
But in his fifth return to the show, fifth time?
Fifth or
Hi,
sixth?
baby. Number 5.
It's Dim, a.k.a. MVG. You are the most frequent guest at this point, right?
I think so.
It's close between Dim and Grub.
I could be tied with Grub and Rand and maybe
Rand as well.
Who else do you bring back a lot? Jez maybe. But hey, it's
Close.
great to be back. Thanks.
It's good to have you.
on.
It's good to have you. And I think before we get into like all of the what we've been playing and stuff, because we know what that's going to be, apart from for Nick. Congratulations on Jurassic Park.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's a very exciting announcement.
Just for those that aren't aware, do you want to take the opportunity to give a quick rundown of exactly what game fans of Jurassic Park titles can expect with this little collection?
So essentially, it's just a Jurassic Park collection of most, not all, I will say, not all of them, but the 8 and 16-bit Jurassic Park games. So we've got the NES Jurassic Park, we've got the 2 Game Boy Jurassic Park games, the Super NES, the first one, and then the Chaos Continues.
Nice.
And wrapped up in a nice collection with a really cool music player and some really cool assets and artwork. It's really a treat for the fans. I've really enjoyed working on that project. When I was a kid, did I ever think I'd be working on anything related to Jurassic Park? No. So it's very exciting to be involved in that project.
Nice.
That's nice.
And it's coming up for Xbox as well. Xbox Physical.
Yeah.
Physical. Yep.
That's rare. Don't Xbox have some sort of weird rule that X number of discs has to
that
be produced?
minimum print rule or whatever it was that they had?
I mean, I've heard stuff about that, but honestly, I don't know if that's true or not. But then again, it's not really an area that I'm really that familiar with, to be honest. Like the physical publishing side, I don't know anything about, to be honest. But all I do know is, and I'm going to plug this a little bit, there is an Xbox version for pre-order. Get on limitedrungames.com. You can pre-order the Xbox. There's also a collector's edition. There's also we're doing these VCR editions now. It's
nice.
That's sick.
Oh, he's got one. Look, he's got one.
This is the Blade Runner one. We'll do one for Jurassic Park. So it's in the shape of like a VHS.
Yeah, VHS. That's sick.
And these are really, really popular. People love these. We've got a couple of others out. We've got one for like Knights of the Old Republic and 1 and 2, I think, as well. So I think Shredder's Revenge had one, maybe. I may not be speaking accurately, but check out our website. We've got a whole bunch of goodies for pre-order.
Yeah, I've put a link to the tweet that you guys did for the announcements for the pre-orders in the chat. So if you are a big fan of the OG Jurassic Park titles, there's a good number of them in this collection. Go check it out. But Dim, apart from that, how have you been?
I wanted to ask Dim something. I want to ask him something as well. Now, Dim, what sort of Greek are you? Are you the lazy Greek like me that just says Chronia Pola? Or do you actually say the full, ευτυχισμένη γιορτή του πατέρα? Like, do you say Happy Father's Day properly? Or do you just go, Chronia Pola, don't worry about it?
I say Chronia Pola for almost every occasion there is.
Chronia Pola for everything.
What does that mean? Translate it for us non-Greek speakers.
It means many happy years. Is that right, Nick?
Basically, yes. Many happy years, many happy returns, all in that ballpark.
Okay.
Because it's Father's Day in Australia today, so I'm reminding Dim to call his dad.
I will after the show. But that's all I ever say, Chronia Pola. Like, if I don't know what the right words to say, I just bust that out.
It covers everything. Covers birthdays, covers Christmas, covers everything. Chronia Pola is like this beautiful catch-all that just covers every single major occasion. It's great.
So like you all right in the UK? You all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Is it similar in any way? No.
So wait, John, when you called your dad for Father's Day, what do you say? You're right? Is that what
you're right, mate? Yeah, I'm all right.
No.
Cool.
Because to say proper Happy Father's Day, as you heard, was a little bit more.
It's sort of flamboyant. Yeah,
it's a bit more involved. But Chronia Pola it captures it all. It's great. And most Aussies, especially most Aussie Greeks, are lazy. So we just say Chronia Pola for everything.
There you go. It's educational and informative. Thanks, Australian Greeks.
Mate.
Blimey,
Dim. Big Ange, mate. Big Ange. He's killing it over in the UK.
What's Big Ange?
The Greek Aussies are just successful everywhere. Like there's me running XboxEra.
Right?
You've got Dim, you got Dim with his YouTube millions and limited run games, and Ange Postecoglou just like smashing it with Tottenham, mate. Just
I don't pay attention
running the show.
You had a good World Cup.
Sport related.
Running the show. Oh, they're going nuts for him. They're going nuts for him in the Premier League. Like even Robbie Williams was singing a song about him. Like they're going absolutely crazy for Ange. And you see, they love how he talks in interviews. He talks like us. Mm-hmm. So he's just sitting at the desk, and they're asking him a question. He's like, mate. He's like, I'm 57, mate. Like, what are you talking about? Like the way he talks to everyone over in the UK is hilarious because it's like hearing us talk to people. It's so funny. He's an absolute classic. So good.
So what we were talking about before the show went live, this is the kind of thing of why you won't get a chance to be the quiz host of Name a Game. We just can't stop him. He's just a runaway train of Australia, Greek, Melbourne, food.
Coffee.
Coffee.
No, stop him. Stop him. You don't trigger these words. They'll send him off into a tangent.
Okay, super chats.
All right. I want to know how Dim's been. I've been trying to ask 3 times. How have you been, Dim?
Okay, go.
I have been very, very busy, but very good. I think the last time I was on the show, I may have just moved house.
You had.
Yeah, but
you've been doing a lot because this is a different setup.
Yeah. So now, this year's been very busy with work, and obviously YouTube is still a thing that I do as well. I still do the videos every week. So it's just heads down and continuing the grind, until I drop dead one day, whenever that happens. So
we know the drill. We know the drill of the grind.
Keep pushing.
The YouTube grind is so real. We might just have to admit defeat and start, trending towards, clickbait, SEO chasing, nerd rage. Just suck it up and just stop putting
faces in thumbnails. Well, shocked faces.
Yeah. Hands on head. That's the good one. Like you do this.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah, that one.
Right. I could do it. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Nick, brace yourself for maybe 15 minutes of silence. I don't know.
Super chats.
Okay, super chats. We'll let you do that first.
Okay, Mohammed Sherez has a couple of super chats. Thanks, mate. Hello, MVG, Jesse, John, and the suave Nick. Starfield is amazing. Nick, you can wait your turn with Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Starfield. And another one from Mohammed Sherez. No one is going crazy for imposter Coglu.
Damn.
Wow.
Now. Don't talk ill about Ange. Come on.
Don't be a lot of love for him there.
Ange is the best.
Is Mohammed a Manchester United fan?
I'm Manchester United, but I still love Ange. Yeah, I'm United. I have been my whole life, mate.
Disappointing.
The thing is, growing up, I when I finally had a TV in my room, I used to secretly watch TV in the middle of the night. Used to watch SBS Dim, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And SBS used to have
web
the
browsing
Premier League
again?
on. Sort of.
Is this like Eurotrash on Channel 4 when I was a kid?
Nah, SBS is this channel in Australia that they used to have the Premier League on a lot, but in the middle of the night, if you caught them at the right time, they'd have risque movies on as well. Yeah. But one night in the middle of the night, I was watching Premier League. And at the time, I had no interest in Premier League, had no idea what it was, nothing. And I was choosing a team. And surprisingly enough, it was Manchester United and Leeds playing. And I was like, okay, whoever wins this, that's who I'm going to go for. Having no idea about Premier League. I'm like, whoever wins this match, that's the team I'm going to go for. I don't know if they're bottom, I don't know if they're top, I don't know anything. Manchester United won. So I picked Man United. And then it turned out at the time, in the 90s, they were like the team. They were like...
I'm surprised you didn't go for Leeds because they had Viduka and Harry Kewell and all those Australian
players. I had no idea. I'm just a kid watching this game of Premier League and having no idea who's who, what's what, nothing. I just picked United because they won. And then turns out that they were a top side back then. But yeah. So
There's been a lot more super chats since.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Super chats and memberships and everything. Holy shit. Drew Bus, thoughts on Lenovo Legion Go, new handheld? It's supposed to be a bit of a monster, that one.
Mm-hmm. It looks great, and they're using Hall effect magnets in their controllers, which I'm like, everyone should switch to these, please.
Isn't it like
and the controllers come off?
Yeah, it's not starting cheap. They're just saying we're going all out right off the bat.
Oh wow, okay.
But I think a lot of people, a lot of companies are looking at the success of the Steam Deck and the success of the ROG Ally and the fact that everyone's like, oh no, these are great. And going, oh, perhaps the price of a handheld doesn't have to be 300 quid or $300. Perhaps it can be 500, 600 because people want the power and the convenience and they're willing to pay for it. So perhaps there's a market there for other would-be newcomers. Who knows?
Okay. Dominic Malta's doing that thing again where he donates money and then types the message after. I was too busy this week making a video on making my Steam Deck fully gold to figure out the patron write-in. But just wanted to say much love to MVG, Nick, John, Jesse, and have an amazing podcast. Thank you very much, Dominic Malta. Good old Collingwood. Nick is a Manure fan? Yeah, mate. Man United. Mohammed Sherez. Love Nick even more now. We support the same club. Hey, there you go. See?
And 10 memberships gifted by Faisal as well.
Faisal, being a maniac again. Thank you, Faisal.
10 memberships. Thanks, Faisal.
Love it. So, what have we been playing? Let's, we all know what we've been playing apart from Nick. Nick can do Rocket League, Fortnite. Oh, you're boring. Yeah. MVG, how's Starfield been for you?
Well, I only got into the early access, and I actually got a review code a couple of days ago, so I'm only about 15 hours into the game, so I don't claim to know much about the game itself. I'm kind of figuring things out as I go, but first impressions are very, very positive. I really, really like the game. The story is compelling. It's got me hooked. I think I'm playing on PC, by the way. I have moved over to Xbox occasionally when I'm, when it's late at night or something. But yeah, other than that, I really am into it. I'm enjoying it. I want to see where this goes. Look, I think if you like Bethesda games, you will absolutely love Starfield. I think that's a fair thing to say. If you don't, or if you've never really connected with Bethesda games, I would still say give it a try when it drops on Game Pass, and see what you think, because they have done a lot of enhancements to the creation engine. They've definitely modernized a lot of some of the things that really used to annoy me with Bethesda Game Studios games. And overall, I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's funny. I am one of those people. I actually did a video on it. I have bounced off of every single Bethesda game I've ever played. Like a couple of hours, I'm like, this is too big. Don't care. Yep. Bored. Go away. And that's for everything. I've tried them all. Fallouts, all the Skyrims, all the Scrolls, all that stuff. And it nearly happy with this. I've now been playing, I've stayed up till 1 or 2 in the morning the last few nights playing Starfield. Mm-hmm. Something happened today. I was in a party with friends, and I don't want to spoil anything because I realize a lot of people may not be as far along as I am. Mm-hmm. But something happened, and I don't want to spoil it, but Jesse will know if I'll try and speak in some serious code. Something happened that I did not expect in relation to the main story. And I was like, yo, what the? And they went there. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm very intrigued. Now
it's the best. It's the best main quest they've ever done, which is people have looked at as a weakness in the past, and it is not a weakness in this one.
Yeah, I was like, so far so tropey, hunting down the MacGuffins all over the globe, all over the galaxy, and then this thing happens, and I'm like, oh shit! now I'm in, and I did a really cool side quest, and again, I won't give it away, but the end result, the reward at the end was also something ridiculously good. So now I am just feeling like an absolute badass. I love the way they brought everything together, and I'm amazed that they've managed to get me. But I think the setting really, really helps. But Golden Path for the most part. But now that I understand how everything kind of works, I've started veering off and clearing off side quests on planets before moving to the next Golden Path story, and I am just I can just drop you, Nick. You look so bored. I'll just Nick will be right back after these messages. But Jesse, you did the review, right? 32-minute review, the longest review you've ever done. You gave the game a 9.7, with the only criticism being a pretty valid one, which is the loading screens after a while, because of the way Bethesda's games works. And I think again, this is the thing that really fucking bugs me. And let's chuck in a little bit of meta commentary about the industry in here. Criticizing the Bethesda game for how Bethesda games work, i.e., why isn't it seamless loading everywhere, like No Man's Sky or like Elite Dangerous or like blah blah blah? Why do I have to have loading screens and animations? No. Because it's a Bethesda game, right?
Yeah, I will say how their engine works.
I will say, yeah. I mean, it's exactly right. It's how the creation engine has been developed. For better or for worse. I mean, you're never going to get a seamless. You're on a planet, and then you just walk into your ship, and then you fly off, kind of like No Man's Sky or something like that. But correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, but Bethesda kind of addressed that a long time ago. Like that wasn't anything that that was like a surprise, right? That you were gonna
exactly right. That's why I'm quite surprised that a lot of the criticism that I've seen in some places that it isn't that, and I'm like,
things like Red Dead 2, where it's you go on a horse for 10 minutes and then you walk and you go right into this giant mansion and it's all there. There's never a loading screen. I think there have been a lot of other big open world games now that don't do cells, but that is just how they do it in large part because they simulate like everything they can. Like if someone says, "I will go meet you in a cave," they turn around and they run, and if you follow them, they run all the way to the cave. They don't fake it. Like if they're going to go upstairs, they'll walk to the elevator, disappear because they're going to another cell. But then if you go up right then, they're in that other cell. Like they simulate everything. They remember where almost everything is. Like the way it's set up is it's weaker than other engines in some ways, but stronger than some engines in other ways because of what their design philosophy is, essentially.
Like there was one quest I was doing where I was like, yeah, easy peasy, and then I just encountered a load of like double my level bad dudes, and I was like, shit, I ran out of med packs. I was like, okay, I have to go. Any other game, I guarantee you, those enemies would probably respawn. All of the loot that I couldn't carry because I was encumbered would probably go away, blah, blah, blah. But no, I scooted off. I went all the way back. I went to all the cities. I restocked, resupplied, sold a load of stuff, came back again. Everyone was still dead where I'd left them. And I got straight back to the point and finished the mission. I love that. But I had a conversation with a good friend of mine today, and he's like, how are people criticizing the fast travel system and the lack of immersion? This is an RPG, people. Like, after 200 hours, I don't want to see that animation anymore. Ever. I want to just go straight to the thing because I'm just doing the things now. Yeah, I get it. Like, I just find some of the odd criticism strange.
A lot of like the No Man's Skyrim and things just like set, I think, the incorrect expectations in people's head because it is an RPG, as where like the majority of No Man's Sky is exploring. There's not some big, vast, deep story to do in that. Over time, they've added little bits and bobs here and there, but it is literally just, we're going to shrink down planets, we're going to shrink down solar systems, you travel at sublight speed through them, and that's a huge major part of the experience, as where like space is the stage for their story, and the way they do travel and realistic stuff where you're bending space, you're not traveling at light speed, is like, well, if you wanted to travel from planet to planet or moon to planet, like
I've done that really dangerous. It takes fucking ages.
It's not actually fun to do, and it's empty. There's not stuff there. So it would be weird to constantly have stuff. The dogfights are fun. Going onto ships, docking onto space stations, like it gives you that feeling that you're going somewhere. That's then handcrafted, because the procedural stuff is, if you're landing on a planet, it makes this enormous square around you. You can see the boundaries of the square on the map because you literally just see where it ends. But in there, they'll just hand place a bunch of handcrafted content, and that's the playground. Like, it's not this, I'm going to walk over this mountain and see something Skyrim type thing, except for it is with the points of interest and some other stuff if you want. Because the actual play area they gives you huge. They are enormous, and the points of interest can be really good. And it's definitely a lot of people's
sounds
first.
Like a 7 out of 10 to me.
Hey, if your text backs it up, I'm fine with that, as long as the text backs
it up. That's interesting, Nick, because you went viral, didn't you? You went viral for saying...
Did I?
You did. Yeah. You went viral for saying publicly on this show.
I chose my words poorly. Even if
would you like to clarify and go viral again this week on what you meant? No, you don't want to do that. You don't fancy
even if there was an element of truth in what I said, which turned out to be somewhat correct.
We're already getting dragged in without even saying anything. So
I got a lot of tags on Twitter, and I've been blocked by people I've never interacted with now because of all the tags I'm in.
Yeah, the state of modern day discourse around video games is so bizarre. Like
Stella.
I mean, Dim, as someone who works in the industry, as opposed to from the outside of it, like YouTubers, etc., like looking in. But someone who works in it, what's your take on it? Like when you see all the ridiculous tribalism, the constant need to score more points in an aggregate than the other guy, this ridiculous back and forth of like, oh, look at this bad screenshot, your game sucks. Like, is it just the most sad thing you've ever seen in your life?
It really is. I mean, I tend to just ignore 99% of it, John. I think there are a lot of trolls out there. Like, there are a lot of troll accounts. There are a lot of shit stirrers, that just cause trouble. They want to really kind of push some buttons. So I don't know. Like, I just tend to not really focus on the noise and just focus on the things that I know that are going on in my kind of sphere of influence, if you will.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like I tend to not worry about that stuff. If people want to bitch about why the sandwiches aren't rendered properly, or they look too low res, or whatever, that's ridiculous type stuff. You know, if people are going to complain about an 87, which is a very, very, very good score,
It is.
And call it a disappointment, then I think you're not being honest about what you're saying. So
there are sites that are like, well, it was receiving middling reviews with lots of sevens.
That was Metro, who were with Welp's score. PC Gamer seemed really mad with it. Many players agree that Starfield's intro falls flat was one of their headlines. I don't get this SEO clickbait.
It is a massive, like even GameSpot. The first 40 articles, like 30 or 40 articles, are all Starfield on GameSpot.com right now. Like the whole thing, IGN's whole thing. Like it's become an absolute massive beast on Google Trends, and that's normally we see it a lot with Xbox, because if you look even globally, Xbox as a brand just being like one name is super. It's a lot higher search than PlayStation or PlayStation 5 combined are, which is always kind of weird to me. I don't know why, but it's one of those things where if you are like Game Rant or The Gamer or a bunch of other
comicbook.com,
150 articles a day on average, and I'm not making that number up. That's like what they do. You want to push the SEO, and right now that really is, well, there's a lot of positive about Starfield, so we're going to fill in the negative gap, or there's some negative, so we're going to fill in a positive gap, and you just see a bunch of low quality bait, and it sucks.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
A lot more super chats.
Anyway, I got blocked by like Stella, and I never interacted with Stella, but she blocked me because so many people tagged me saying Nick said this, and it turned out to be true.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I'm not. Everyone knows I'm not interested in Starfield anyway, so
yeah.
I'm
you've
not
never
fussed
hidden that fact.
You're not going to play it when it drops on Game Pass?
No. Not interested.
He only plays Nintendo games on the Xbox podcast, Tim.
Have not been interested in Starfield from as soon as I saw big open world space RPG, hundreds of hours. I'm like, nah, forget it. I haven't got time for that.
You could Golden Path the main quest in about 20 hours. 15 or 20.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder is coming out soon.
Not that
and
soon.
Then Sonic Superstars.
Tim, if you know anyone that you'd recommend as a co-host for an Xbox focused show, please do get in touch. Let me know. We're always on the lookout for some sort of replacement if we can. Someone actually turns his Xbox on.
Speaking of Nintendo, we've got more super chats.
Go on.
Drew Buss, any new Switch 2 rumors? Camera, chipset?
It's all bullshit.
None that I can talk about, Drew. None that I can talk about, mate.
That latest thing that's come out today, like every day there's
what was
new.
It? Today?
Yesterday, I think the camera and the chipset and
was there a
Final
camera thing?
Fantasy 7 and stuff.
Final Fantasy 7 remake looks like a PS5 game on it. I'm like,
I didn't see any of that stuff. No, I don't know.
It's all bullshit.
Okay. I didn't see any of that.
Didn't Jez mention he'd heard a rumor that maybe it was being shown to select?
It was.
I saw something apparently. I don't know if he deleted it.
Yes, Jez heard a rumor or something that maybe something had been shown behind closed doors at Gamescom or something, so we may start to see leaks or something like that.
Well,
it's weird. I saw PlayStation at Gamescom.
I was not at Gamescom, so I can't really speak to that.
I saw PlayStation at Gamescom, near Gamescom. I won't say where, but they had a room and it had a big PlayStation logo outside, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh. I presume they must be hearing pitches in there, so
maybe
there was there, but just not showing consumers anything.
Okay. Jason, my buddy Jason. So you know how we were looking into the OnlyFans tier of Patreon, where you get to see my OnlyFans. Well, until that gets off the ground, due to logistical issues, there's a special Patreon tier. Instead of OnlyFans, you get to go out with me for like coffee and stuff. So Jason and I had dinner last night and caught up for a coffee as part of that Patreon perk. Yes, he's got an $8
Did you pay for the
chat.
coffee?
No, Jason did.
Cheapskate.
we went to Nico's and Jason Bain.
You fucking cheap son of a bitch. Thanks for your money, you prick. Now buy me a coffee.
Happy Father's Day, gentlemen. Thanks, Chase. he goes back. He goes back to Sydney soon. He's in Melbourne at the moment. Okay, TownYsend. Please at least try to look happy, Nick. It's not that I'm not happy. I was playing Mario Kart. See, look, I was playing Mario Kart on my Switch while they were talking about Starfield.
Are you happy, Nick? Xbox has a genuine, full-on system seller, probably for the first time this generation.
Do they? It's only an 87 on Metacritic, mate.
Fuck.
I don't know if that counts.
Oh,
I
dear.
don't know if that counts, mate. I don't know if that's good enough. I don't think that's enough to turn it around for Xbox. It needed to be transformative to really have that kind of effect.
Just to speak to that, I definitely don't want to stir the pot or anything, but my co-host on the Nate the Hate show, we talked about this last week, and outside of Forza and Flight Simulator, has there been a 90 Metacritic game for Xbox since Gears of War 3? Because we were looking at it and we couldn't find anything.
Not unless you count Ori.
I don't think Ori got a 90.
Ori 2 did.
Ori 2 is at a 90, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ori, and that's unless you don't, like, because that's a global publishing game as opposed to a more traditional first-party game.
Mm-hmm.
Hi-Fi was at it, but then got dragged down after.
A couple
3 months
got
later.
Close. Halo's 87. Gears 5 is like an 80
something,
6 or something like that.
Yep.
There's a lot in the mid to high 80s.
Yeah, they got loaded in the 80s. Absolutely loaded in the 80s.
Yeah, ton in the 80 range. But 90
Psychonauts 2 was an 89.
Mm-hmm.
Close. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot that's thereabouts.
I don't think they'll ever do it. I don't think they'll ever do it.
It'll be like now. A game here and there will come along and we'll get there. It won't be, the frequency probably won't ever be there.
There's enough.
But for normal people, for regular people, having a whole bunch of games in the mid to high 80s is very good for normal people.
I don't think, because of the way the system works, I don't think there'll always be some publication that still gets counted on Metacritic somehow. That will just, it's just how it works.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
But if you pay attention to the critic to that degree, like, there's probably something wrong with you. Just play what you enjoy.
Tell that to the damn studios that I'll pay attention to.
I know, right?
Way too much.
Although I haven't heard so much of that recently. Like back in 360 Gen, that was a big bonus-driven thing. Like, get your game over X Metacritic and you get a bonus. I haven't heard many stories of that since.
I'm assuming that still exists. I'm assuming.
Me too.
Grumble. I'm a hospice nurse, so console warring isn't the saddest thing I've seen in my life. It's myopic and displays a massive lack of perspective, though.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
Faisal, based on just Steam concurrent players, playing Starfield made at least 25 million on first day of early access on Steam, not counting Xbox and PC. Okay.
Yeah, it's 234,000 concurrent players on the
They hit 236 today, I think.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Pretty good.
And that's why, folks, early access is never going to go away, because FOMO is real and they will make you pay for it.
Yep.
You do it to yourselves.
That's right. No one's forcing anyone to pay for that.
FOMO is too strong. I get it. I totally get it. But yeah.
Yeah, but then playing devil's advocate for a sec, day one on Game Pass. Is that really true?
Yeah.
It has always been day one standard edition on Game Pass. That's how they
they need a little asterisk in the day one logo, don't they, Tim? And just put it down here.
Yep.
The poor person's edition.
It's not even poor. It's $30. It's not
the normal person edition. Like, you don't have like the standard version. So for Aussies, the 99, although now it's gone up, Xbox up their prices now too. The $120 version, which is now the standard version, it's there. Day one on Game Pass.
It's funny.
If you
with single player games, they're the ones that I just would not bite about. Like, oh my god, I must play this. It ain't going anywhere. You know,
No.
like I like Jedi Survivor. I really want to play it. I know it needed a lot of patches, right? And I still really want to play it, but I know I have at some point it will just appear in my EA Play Game Pass thing, and that's the point where I'll go, oh, it's Jedi Survivor week, and then I'll just play it because it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to change. No. I don't care enough about the story to be like, oh, spoiler alert. You know, like it's just a single player game. If multiplayer was a thing that was in early access, and I knew it was a game,
you need to be there while there's an audience.
Yeah, you want to get your. So I kind of get that, but single player ones, I can wait. But then I also have to operate under the knowledge that we now are in a certain segment of folks that most of the time we get games a lot earlier than everybody else. So I have to kind of put that hat on. But anyway, Nick, we powered through the Starfield section. You survived. I noticed you kind of charged up there. You know, you've had your breakfast.
I am eating my breakfast, and mate, Dim needs to get on this. I'm telling you, if you, I don't know, Dim, do you have breakfast in the morning or do you skip breakfast?
I have a cup of coffee. That's about it.
Yeah, so do I.
Same as me. Coffee
but
for life.
I'm telling you, if you go, I need you. Even Rand tried this, and even Rand loves it. I harassed him and said, just try it, man. Seriously. Go to www.drinkcontrol.com/XboxEra. Use our code XboxEra, 10% off. Mate, it's the best meal replacement you'll ever taste. This is the Fruity Flakes one. Tastes like Fruit Loops. You know when Fruit Loops is sitting in the milk for like ages?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You drink the milk at the end?
That.
That's what this tastes like. It's unbelievable. It's so good. And even Jesse, who disagrees with everything I say, even he loves it.
You say that like most people don't disagree with everything you say, but yes, this is the one time you are right on the money. It's very good.
It's so nice.
Anyway, let's go through. Let's go through the news of the week in the hopes that we can still have Dim here for when Name a Game comes along. First of all, leading the sad news of the week, and this is sad news because they just released one of their best games yet. Which Jesse, I think you reviewed and absolutely adored, which was Shadow Gambit, right? Was that? Am I getting the name right?
Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. And
this is the Desperados team, Mimimi Games. Mimimi Games. They're shutting down. This is Germany, I think. German dev. That's it. Didn't do well enough.
Well, no, what they said. No, it did great. It did great. They don't want to do the grind anymore. They don't want to have to now work on pitching their next game. They don't want to have to work for years and years, unsure if it's going to make enough back. It's like this game did fine. They gave the bonus to all their employees, but they're like, we can't do it anymore. We don't want to keep going through this.
Come out? Why don't they give it a bit more time?
Because it's not about the game. It's about they don't want to do it. They don't want to. Oh, thank you, Basil. Need more Starfield talking. I don't disagree. I was kind of shocked that the Starfield segment was considered done already.
I didn't stop it.
I was just trying to, keep things moving along. Like, how much more stuff would you want to talk about without start spoiling plots?
Yeah, you had a whole podcast for it, man. Shut up.
So, anyways,
you rage quit.
No, Jesse just kicked him off.
Mm-hmm. But yes, they didn't shut down because the game did poorly. I think the game's done pretty well. So John lied. So we're very sorry, everyone. They said they're shutting down just because the grind, being independent, having to go out, try and pitch for funding, and worry about all that stuff all the time. It's just been too much.
That's kind of even worse.
I will say, as someone that does work in the industry, I would find it, so terrifying if I was an indie and I had a good game in my hands and I was trying to get a publisher to pitch it, and get them to basically, sign it and then publish it. Just that whole song and dance that you have to do, you gotta basically show off the game, and you're gonna get a lot of people say this game sucks, it's not very good, you're gonna get rejected. That song and dance that you do, especially as an indie, it can really, be very, very difficult. So I can definitely see their point of view as to why they don't want to go through that again, because, if it wasn't a good experience the first time around. But I also would say, look, if you make good games, then you have the talent you need to do that. So maybe you should think about a different approach, rather than the way you've done it. But I do feel for any studio that closes down for reasons like that, I think it's very unfortunate.
It is. It's sad, especially when they just released a game, and a good game.
Yeah, one of their best. But that's them's the breaks. I've been in that pitch experience. Like I don't know if you saw our last show or the Gamescom show. I was very kindly invited by Max Hoberman at Certain Affinity to go and have a look at what they're building, and I got to play it, and I was like, "Wow, it's really, really fucking good." That's about all I can say, but like I can imagine, like that's what they're doing all day long. Like, tell us what you think, and then hope that there's a big fight for it, I guess. But yeah, sad about Mimimi Games. What else?
We got another 10 gifted subs from Faisal Hassan.
Yes, we
Thank
did.
You, Faisal. Yeah, you maniac.
Thanks, mate.
Do you want to talk about any more Starfield? Like, I feel like bad now that I've cut the opportunity from beneath you.
I think a lot of people didn't realize we did. Later. Yeah, well, we will get back to it, and we did a podcast that got cut short because I forgot to put a fan on my freaking hotspot and it overheated.
Oh,
we
really?
So it worked. I locally hosted and it worked perfect. My upload was great, but it's what I told you. I forgot it's in a window in the Florida sun.
Know it was during the show.
Yeah, it was right. We were about to end. Yeah, and the thing was like 130 degrees.
You got through most of the show then.
Yeah, we got through most of it. So there is a ton of Starfield talk from me and John, including answers for the patrons and stuff that's on our channel that you guys can go get. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't really have much else to add because, like, right now I'm still playing through the game, and
I don't want to spoil anything.
I don't want to be spoiled. And I don't really. I mean, I have a good understanding about the game, but I don't really have much else to kind of add. I guess the only other thing is that I'm playing on PC with a NVIDIA card, and it's a little all over the place. So I kind of wish performance was a little better, but I'm hopeful that they'll fix it.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful they'll fix it.
It is odd. It's like Halo, where you can't set the resolution. It only runs native, unboxed, or in a window, which is kind of weird. So if you want to lower it to 1440p, you have to run your monitor at 1440p. You can't run your monitor at 4K, and then. Or you can use FSR, have the render resolution be like 70%. So it's essentially rendering roughly, you got to do all the math in your head, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Halo is strange like that. Like you can pick the res, but then it windows it down and you're like, no, stop it. I find it weird as well. Like no FOV slider on PC or console. And
I get it on console because they're trying to lock in performance, but and you can change it on PC with console commands.
I saw IGN published all of the console cheat codes and stuff, like infinite encumberment. I'm like, oh, tempting, but no. I'm gonna vanilla this run and have some fun. So, what else? Apparently, the Game Pass $1 trial disappeared just before Starfield.
People act like this is new, but this happens almost every time. It comes and it goes. It mainly comes when things are slow. Or
still
slow.
Shifty timing. It's still shifty timing.
It's still very business driven timing.
Yeah, it's not shifty. I mean, it's pretty obvious about what's going on here. Like, there's nothing shifty going on here. They're saying Starfield's out. You're paying for it.
As a Greek, I know shifty when I see it, mate. This is shifty. Don't worry. It's very.
All right. What do you think about this shifty? At the very, very bottom of a blog, or I can't remember what it was. Sony sneakily raised all the prices on 12 months.
Oh my god! Did you see how much they raised the price by?
Yeah, I have PlayStation Premium. Do you think I'm going to continue with that? F no, man. I'm canceling it, honestly.
There was no value add. It was just it just goes up.
Like, we're just up in the price after a year. I will say, luckily, as a person who's on Essential, the Aussie price only went up by like, I think, $15 a year for Essential, so it's not too bad. But I looked at the price jump on Deluxe and Premium or whatever. Oh my god, it's like huge.
Yeah, I'm going to drop mine. I mean, there's no value there for me. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, I bought Premium so I could get the PlayStation Classics and the PS2 games. There's not a single PS2 game that's been released on Premium yet. So
wow,
I'm at the point now where I'm like, it's been like over a year, right, since they dropped this service, and I'm just not seeing the value there at all.
No.
And like a
I saw-
10% jump, like 5 to 10% is what I think a lot of people would expect if you're going to jump, especially that soon, like after a year. But for it to be about 33% across most of the globe is crazy.
Yeah. It's not the one.
Yes. Yes, I will say raising the price of Essential at all is odd because you're effectively increasing the price just to play multiplayer and have cloud saves.
Yeah.
Don't worry, though. They are releasing a really, really good new device for you to pick up and stream.
3 of them.
PlayStation Portal's coming out.
November
15th.
Yeah, they finally dated it.
Wow.
November
And priced.
15th.
How much is it?
$199 US?
$199 US.
Yeah.
God, it's going to be like...
The only thing that it does
shiny.
by default is PlayStation 5 Remote Play. It will not do anything else. It doesn't do cloud for anything. It doesn't it's supposed to be just this lockdown
It's
PlayStation
just a
5 Remote
dedicated
Play. Yeah.
remote play device. That's all it is.
And they haven't said what the battery life's going to be. They said they're working on it, which is funny.
Probably
because
won't be good.
The initial leak was it's about 3 hours, which is crazy to me. Because it was like 3 hours is what they said. Because like the G Cloud, as much as everyone makes fun of it, I get about 20 hours out of that thing if I'm at half brightness and either using headphones or low on the speaker, and it's about 15 to 20 hours because it's just streaming a video. It's not doing anything locally, which is what this device should be doing as well. Powering
The difference is though, like they've literally just cut a DualSense controller in half and stuck a display on there.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, you guys know that have PS5s. The DualSense battery life is terrible.
It's not great.
It's terrible. Like
3 hours or something?
No. The standard DualSense, I think, is in the 6 to 8 range. I think.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I don't get anywhere near that much. I don't get 6 to 8 hours. I get 3.5 to 4 tops.
Well, I've got a DualSense Edge, and that's battery life's even worse again.
The DualSense Edge battery, no, it's not the same battery. No, it's a third. It is a third smaller than the normal DualSense battery because they didn't have the space because they put more stuff in there. So the DualSense Edge is actually about a third less capacity than the DualSense battery-wise.
Jesus.
Well, I did end up pre-ordering one of the PlayStation Portals, so I will do a no BS review when I get mine.
Very keen to see your thoughts.
So I'm going to just...
If you don't like it,
I'm going to take it apart.
my way.
I'm going to take it apart, run emulators on it. I'm going to see how good the battery life is.
I'm curious what chip do they have on it?
I don't know. Like I would expect it's something, something that can handle streaming 1080p, 60 FPS footage. So that's not anything super powerful. I mean, a lot of Android-based chips will do that pretty easily. So I don't think it's going to be anything like amazing as far as what it can actually do.
Yeah.
How does remote play, like, have you used PlayStation Remote Play before?
I have not, but I've used a Wii.
Really?
I've used a Wii U, and I know how that works on a Wii U tablet. So I would imagine it's very similar.
But the Wii U has proprietary tech in it.
Yeah.
This is like remote play. Again, I've said on this show 100 times. PlayStation Remote Play just uses your upload to send the PS5.
There is some proprietary tech in this, and that is the PlayStation Link audio. So now they're doing their own version of what Xbox has with their Xbox wireless protocol.
That's you're on the same network as the local Wi-Fi network as the PS5. So I think if you're nearby the PS5, it'll basically be like the Wii U tablet. But if you're out and about, then it's straight up remote play.
I think it's always just remote play. The Link is only for the audio, and it's the reason why no Bluetooth headsets will work with the PlayStation Portal.
That's the other thing that bugs me. So my Pulse headphones will not work with this thing. Why?
Yep.
I ain't buying another pair of headphones to use with this.
You have to.
So they bought Odyssey, and they've got the planar magnetic headphones, and they really and earbuds, which look nice, and especially like $200 for earbuds like that is very competitive.
I'm not spending $200 on
it's not worth not allowing anything else wireless. You can wire headphones in, but nothing else wireless if it's not PlayStation Link.
Can't use these.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
use them.
disappointing. I mean, I'm not really hating on the PlayStation Portal. I think there's definitely some use cases that I could see myself using it with. You know,
Me too.
like if I'm outside, making a steak on the grill, I got the PlayStation Portal out there. I'm playing some games, so I can definitely see myself using it. But I do question its execution. Battery life, and the fact that I think there is a headphone jack, so I can at least plug in analog headphones. So, I can definitely work around that issue. But like the fact that they're not supporting their own pieces of hardware, you have to buy them.
And they're starting up cloud, like they're starting up PS5 cloud streaming, and this won't support it, which is really weird.
It is a little strange.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked if you use Remote Play, because Remote Play works beautifully for me. So I'm expecting on this device, for me, it will be borderline almost a native experience for me. But I wasn't sure how Remote Play
You know
works
what
for
else I tried Remote Play on with my son's PlayStation 5, and it worked really well, was G Cloud. It works in there, works great. It worked. GeForce Now is ridiculously good, and it felt like I was natively playing really close on shooters, but pretty damn close on like less latency dependent things. So I just
no DualSense Edge feature, no DualSense haptics, mate.
I'm fine.
Got to have that DualSense cut in half, mate. Got to have it.
It's so weird to me. What a weird design. But hey, I get it.
Yeah, it's weirdly smushed. Like you've got this thing that should be able to do more, whatever. At least your own cloud service like that is still pulling people into your ecosystem type thing. It feels much like the PSVR 2. It very much feels like a Sony initiative and not because PlayStation get gamers and they get gaming, and most of the time that this stuff goes sideways on them, it's because the bigger company is saying you're going to do this to them now, and they're like, fine, whatever. They don't try that hard.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you doing? Sorry,
while you guys were discussing the thrilling news of the PlayStation Portal, I was reading a very amusing Twitter thread between Xbox fan Tim Dog and IGN reviewer Dan Stapleton.
Oh god!
Oh boy, it's getting spicy. It's getting spicy on the Twitters.
But what we'll do, Dim, when you're reviewing the Portal, bring it with you when you come to Melbourne, and if you don't like it, I'll take it off your hands.
Yeah, just give him free stuff. That's how he works. You travel all the way to him.
We can recreate the scene in Office Space where we take it out to the park with a baseball bat. Smash it.
Seriously, if you use
cricket bat,
yeah.
We've got to use cricket bat spot.
Oh yeah.
Can you please actually do that if you are next in Melbourne? Like, do something ridiculous. Like, I don't know, pick a device you both hate.
He has to come down now because there's no restrictions anymore.
Well, so if you want a device that at least one of them hates, you just have Nick bring an Xbox.
Whoa!
I'll smash my Series X, my Halo Series X.
Yeah.
No, you're going to take out the Series S because it's holding back the generation.
Yes, because it's a potato. So I've got to just destroy one of my children's Series S's.
Oh, it's funny. The review for Starfield is doing okay, but the video of gameplay on the Series S has pretty much caught up to it. And then the Series X, like no one's watched. The PC, like no one's watched.
Apparently, the Series S version's in quite good shape.
Yeah.
It's a miracle after kind of how much of a struggle others seem to be having with it. But yeah, I mean, I guess when you've got a massive corporation and many thousands, there's like 15 support studios that worked on Starfield. When you've got that much help, and AMD themselves, it goes a
including
long way.
id helped on Starfield quite a bit.
They're in the
I think for the per pixel motion blur,
it's
which is a first for a Bethesda game.
I will say the first thing I do when I start a game, John, is I turn off motion blur immediately.
Don't do it in this one. Don't do it here. It's so stuttery without it. I tried.
Yeah, on console or on PC.
It is stuttery, but I can't. I hate motion blur.
Really?
I don't like it.
Interesting.
Okay. I think
at least
I watched John Linneman's Digital Foundry tech breakdown, and I think he used the phrase for you heathens that like to turn that off. So you know what you are.
I'm a turn it all on. Chromatic aberration, motion blur, film grain, all of them. Turn it all
Where
on.
are you on film grain, Tim? Film grain off or on?
I kind of reduce it a little bit, like I don't have, if there's a slider, If there's an on or off, I'll leave it on. But if there's
Yeah.
a slider, I'm kind of moving it to like 50% maybe. Like
Yeah.
I like a little bit of film grain, but the one that I always turn off is motion blur. I can't stand it.
It is really, even at, just try low. See if you can do low on PC. It really smooths it out.
The thing is, if I see a little bit of motion blur, I'm like, ugh.
But if you're like, it's kind of jumpy at times.
I've seen it.
When I turn the motion blur back on. Oof.
Even with ship combat, when you're kind of moving around, you can see it kind of jump a little bit, but it's better than the alternative for me,
which is motion blur.
Yeah.
Fair. What else is happening in the news?
Now, look, I need to probably jump in here.
Okay, cool.
Now,
please.
As many of you will now know, between my attitudes towards Xbox and me leaking stuff of Xboxes, Xbox doesn't like us much, which would probably explain why we weren't invited to any of the Forza previews. Because apparently Forza previews are happening at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm frustrated. So yeah, for the Xbox Era community, there are Forza previews going on. Xbox Era has not been invited to those previews.
All our friends got invited. We just didn't get invited.
Yeah. It's a weird one. I don't want to speak too much publicly about it. It's just Xbox Era is generally viewed as a UK based outlet. Blame me. We can blame Nick too. But the allocation for digital codes, of which there are infinite amounts that you can definitely generate at the click of a button, there is very low allocation for this for us. So it's a shame we won't be covering anything on the preview, but we should bring you a normal review as per standard time. But hopefully, that scenario will improve the more we grow and the more.
I hope all our friends, Colt, Rand, the Iron Lords, Boom, I hope they're all enjoying Forza Motorsport very much.
A lot of them actually went to LA and played it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Even though visually it looks a little meh, thanks to the lighting, I hope they're enjoying Forza Motorsport anyway.
John knows it's not looking meh because he saw it at Gamescom and it's
looking really good. Like, dude, I get it. Global Illumination has its ups and downs in certain scenarios, but generally it's a very nice looking game.
Well, we have a game developer on right now. We have this debate often, Dim. I don't know what it is about Forza Motorsport versus Gran Turismo, right? I don't know what Polyphony are doing with their lighting. I think it's like some sort of pre-baked thing. I don't know, but there's something about the lighting in Gran Turismo that just gives
in cutscenes and replays
a more real look than what Forza Motorsport has. I can't put my finger on it.
I think I can't really say what they're doing differently, but this is what I will say. Gran Turismo has had a head start on Forza, right? Like they've been doing this shit for years. I'm not saying Forza hasn't, because that was around the days of the OG Xbox.
Xbox.
Like 2006 or 2007. Actually, it was earlier than that. It was probably 2005.
2004, I think, was the first one.
The first one.
But like, I will say that I personally prefer the aesthetics of Gran Turismo better than Forza. But that's just an opinion. I think both games look absolutely phenomenal at the end of the day. Like they look fantastic. But I do prefer the overall lighting and the way that Gran Turismo does look in motion. But it's not really anything that I would, sit there and argue about. Like I don't feel like, I think the differences are fairly negligible for the most part. But overall, I would, if I had to pick one, I'd probably, and I'm not talking about GT7 because that's an absolute mess of a game, with different reasons. But I prefer the Gran Turismo series. And the other thing that I will say, this is an Xbox show, and I'm shitting all over.
That's fine. That's fine.
There's something about the handling of cars in Forza that has never sat properly with me, and Gran Turismo has it dialed in superbly.
And that part I wouldn't know because I don't play them.
I don't know. There's just something about the way that cars handle in Forza.
I'm curious to see how different it is, because a lot of what they did, a lot of the reason this one's taken so long is they've pretty much completely redone the physics So I'm really curious how it's going to feel.
Hopefully that will fix the issues that I have. It could just be perception. It could just be me, but I've always felt that Gran Turismo handled just a little better than Forza did.
I'm glad you mentioned the lighting thing, because I always noticed that too. I could never put my finger on it, and as someone who's not a dev, I'm going purely on what my eyes see, and it's just there's a thing about the lighting in Gran Turismo that just for me gives it more of a real look. Where Forza, as nice as the car models are and the environments look so nice and blah blah blah, the light, to me it just looks like a really good looking video game. Where Gran Turismo, there's moments where I'll be seeing it, I'll be at JB, and I'll have Gran Turismo running at 4K in the background, and I almost think I'm looking at real footage of a car being driven at moments, just because of the way it's lit. It's just, there's something about it. It's just, yeah. It's
curious to see how it all shakes out. But hey, we'll find out when we read everybody else's previews. But hey, do you know what's more important than how you feel about Forza's lighting, Nick?
What?
Asking our wonderful community who's watching along with us now to hit that like button, because the algorithm must be fed, and we need you to do that, people.
If you like Forza more than Gran Turismo, hit that like button. We'll see what the people think. Let's see if that number goes up much. People.
We're actually burning through this a pretty good clip, so I'm actually confident.
Then. That's good. It's Father's Day anyway.
We'll be able to do the things. In other non-news, another controller has leaked from Microsoft. It's purple this time. Get hype.
Purple's the goat color.
You going to pick that one up?
Best. No.
Cool story.
I have enough controllers, man. I've got so many controllers.
Something here about a Nintendo game, but we don't need to talk about that because it's not Xbox related.
I watched the Super Mario
Borderlands
Brothers
Collection
Wonder Direct.
Was announced.
Okay, I won't keep doing that. I'm sorry.
I like doing this, though. It's great.
I watched the 15-minute Super Mario Brothers Wonder Direct, man. Did you watch it, Dim?
I actually didn't. And not because I'm not interested. I really, really, really want to play Super Mario Wonder.
This game looks unbelievable.
I tend to not watch some previews of games that I'm really wanting to play because I love just going in without knowing anything about it. Starfield was another one. I did see that 1 hour, Xbox presentation everyone did. But other than that, I didn't really have a grasp on what Starfield was, really. I kind of went into it with no expectations, no real knowledge of what it was. The reviews, I didn't even bother reading or watching any reviews. I just saw the Metacritic and I said 87. Yep, that looks good. And that was it. So Mario Wonder, I did see the original announcement.
Yes.
And that was enough for me to say, yes, I want to play this game.
Yeah, the 15-minute direct, they delved into a lot of the systems and stuff. And there's the other games have had it in the past. They've got a badge system where it's basically an enhancement. So there might be a badge where Mario's wall jump is enhanced. Then if you die, you can try a different badge to see how you get through that part. There might be a badge where you run faster or automatically skip over gaps. And oh my God, this game looks so good. It just looks so good. It's 7 areas in total, big, massive areas, and all the characters can turn into elephants except the Yoshis and Nabbit. The Yoshis and Nabbit can't die. So they say, if you've got kids playing with you, let them go as the Yoshis and the Nabbit. Yoshis can jump on the back of Yoshis. When you're an elephant, you can jump on the back of Yoshi and he squats down a little bit more because he's got an elephant on his back. It's just, oh my God, I can't wait. I've already pre-ordered this game. I can't wait.
Did you pre-order the OLED Switch as well?
So I have I have the 35th anniversary Mario Edition Switch, the red one, the all red one.
Yep.
The stock standard Switch. So as soon as I saw this thing, I said to my wife, so you're getting a new Switch, by the way. I'm replacing your Mario Red Switch with a new Mario Red Switch, an OLED version. So I think I've already found a buyer for my Mario one. So I'm going to sell that and get the red OLED. Mario Switch, because that thing looks amazing. But yes, that's it. There you go. That's all I'm talking about, Mario Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Oh, are we back? Okay.
It's almost as long as the Starfield segment.
I know, right? Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
Anyway.
Christ, what else? What else? Borderlands Collection announced. Oh, here we go again. Oh, go on. Go
What?
on, thing.
No, Borderlands Collection.
Got announced.
I'm just saying. The Borderlands Collection got announced. Yes, that's right. It's funny. Someone reached out to me and they were like, hey, there's a Borderlands Collection coming later in the year. And like 2 weeks later, there's Borderlands Collection. Boom. And then maybe I put my DM on Twitter saying, do you remember it was episode 172? I don't know if you remember.
You teased
we were talking about
Borderlands game, I think.
Well, yeah, everyone was discussing Take-Two's financials going, oh, I guess this means that there's a GTA 6 is 2024. And I may have subtly sort of suggested that, how do you know it's GTA 6? Maybe it's
That's true. You did.
something else. Maybe it's a new Borderlands game next year and not GTA 6.
Surprise.
Because I received that DM from a certain person that said, hey, there's a Borderlands collection coming and a new Borderlands next year. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay.
Was it Randy Pitchford?
No, it was not Randy. No, it was not Randy.
Let me pull this leak out of my hat.
Yeah, it was one of those many people that reached out to me with DMs.
I will say you should say sources and not how you get them, because otherwise companies could come at you for your DMs. A little deep throat trick. You never give a hint.
How else would I get this info? I'm in Australia.
You just say a little birdie told me, and then they can stupidly think a carrier pigeon went across the Pacific.
A birdie that works for Discord told me. I said works for Discord. They don't work for Discord. I'm basically saying it's
giving it
Discord.
away, man.
Mentioned that there was a Borderlands collection coming and probably a new Borderlands next year, and I'm like, okay.
I haven't played
nothing of it
since Borderlands 2. I just was like,
Same.
I heard Tiny Tina's Wonderland was fun. Like
3 was very fun to play, but the writing was worse than normal, which is saying something for Borderlands. And then Tiny Tina's was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
And 3 Ultimate Editions coming to Switch.
Oh,
I played Borderlands, the first one. I liked it when it came out. I thought it was a really interesting and unique concept, especially with the kind of the drop-in co-op, all that stuff. It was cool. The number of the number of guns that you could loot and all the combinations of weapons and stuff. It was kind of interesting. I started playing number 2, and I kind of realized that I don't really like Borderlands very much. Like I just kind of stopped playing. I was like, this isn't really as good as I thought it was, and I never played number 3 at all. And I've heard mixed things about number 3.
Yeah,
1 and 2 are backwards compatible.
Yep, I played number 1. I played through 1 a second time on backward compatibility for about I don't know, halfway through the game. It was very good, very good.
You know, it's good. The pre-sequel, that was pretty good.
Is it?
Oh, I haven't. Yeah, I've just stopped. I just stopped. There's too much going on in my life to
see. I have friends and family, and we play together.
Yeah, I know. And I think you enjoy a lot of co-op shooters in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I have no friends. And last real bit of news: RoboCop Rogue City was delayed again to November 2nd.
Damn it!
From when?
Game?
I think it was in October, but I think it's getting out of the way.
It was supposed to be September, but they never dated it, and then they were like, "And by the way, it's coming November 2nd," and it was like, "Oh, that's a delay."
Yeah. And Vampire the Masquerade.
Dim said he wants to play that.
Dude
said he wants to play.
I want to play that RoboCop game. It looks cool.
I'm very curious how they're going to balance out that you walk really slow and it's kind of like you highlight and because it's not going to be a Twitch shooter.
No, I don't think so.
And RoboCop's kind of bulletproof-ish, so
get him in
I'm
the
very
mouse.
curious. I'll do the review for that one, probably.
I feel like the only person that doesn't think it looks that good from all the footage that's been shown.
I didn't think it was like spectacular looking, but it looks like a pretty cool RoboCop game I'd like to play.
Yeah,
I think it's more people are into the IP and hoping it's good because it's also Nacon.
That's where I'm at with
Nacon. You never know.
Yeah. I like the RoboCop franchise. I love the movies. like the
I love the
games.
Mega Drive game.
Yep.
Jim, have you ever seen the I think it was like a bunch of film students did it, the RoboCop scene from the film that gets extended?
I don't think I've seen that before.
I'm sure we've spoken about this. I can't remember. I've spoken about it with a guest on the podcast, but basically, when we're off the show and you're in the privacy of your own home with no one else, especially no one under the age of 18, Google RoboCop penis scene. You know the bit in the film where he shoots between the skirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Well, I will say, John, that I wasn't the guest that you told us to last time, because I would have definitely remembered. And
RoboCop penis scene. I think it was Phil Spencer that we had on last time. I told about RoboCop penis scene. No, I'm joking. It was. He wouldn't come back for another episode, I think, if that was the case. But yeah, when you're next on Google and you're feeling like a good laugh,
I'm going to check it out after the show.
Yeah, honestly, I want to drop me a DM or something when you've watched it, because yeah, if you're a RoboCop fan, it is fucking hilarious. It's very funny. That's it. Oh, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 coming from the Chinese room in Q4.
It's a very curious developer on that one, which is why I put it in there, because the Chinese room did like Dear Esther, Amnesia, Machine for Pigs, Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, Little Orpheus, and they're doing Still Wakes the Deep, which is hitting Game Pass next year. But now they're the new dev taking over for Bloodlines 2, and it's an interesting choice. I don't think they've ever done a game like this, really.
Like that. Yeah.
No.
I guess we'll soon find out. I don't think that Q4 2024 will stick, as a release date, considering everything else they've got on their plate. But we'll see. Maybe.
Yep.
But that's it. That's the news. That is the news.
That is the news.
Which means if you hit your like buttons, dear viewers, it's time. I think as long as Jesse's been behind the scenes speaking to Dim,
no, I haven't.
He's going to host Name a Game. Have you ever watched this wonderful quiz show?
I think I've done this before. I think
Good.
I've done this.
Okay,
You might have done it once before, yeah.
Yeah, it's the one where you say a similar sounding phrase for a game, and then you guys pick the game. Yeah, I've done this before.
I got to figure out how to send you this.
Just send it in Discord.
Send it to me on Discord. I think, Jesse, you've done this before with me.
We have.
Yeah,
It's not popping up when I try to find a conversation.
Hold
on. Type. Hey, but patrons, if we'll be doing community questions towards the end of the show, depending upon time. Dim's got about 2 hours, and it's Father's Day, so we do want to let Nick get on.
We're all right.
We're doing okay for time right now. About 40.
What the heck's your Discord name? I'm going to hit that button while we...
It's MV... Actually, I shouldn't say that publicly.
No, you probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
No, let me... Hold on. Let me...
Yeah, I'm not saying you leave the XboxEra Discord?
I don't think so. Still in there.
Yeah, I don't see you.
Yeah, man. Amateurs.
Amateurs. This is what we are. Beautiful amateurs. Coasting through life.
I've literally typed that name in 3 times before, and it didn't pop up. And of course, now here it is. There you go. Hitting the button.
I think it may have changed when Discord did that thing where they changed usernames and stuff.
Yeah. So now you have an actual username instead of a hashtag number name. But you didn't say the whole thing, so it's fine. Anyways,
it's all right.
Get ready to go deaf.
Yes. All right.
Well, hello.
Hi.
We're back.
It's Name a Game, the show where Jesse takes popular game names and replaces the words with synonyms of those words. What's the topic?
What's the topic?
Video games released in 1998 is the category.
Ooh, I'm in here. I reckon I might be in here.
I chose this one.
Man.
I chose this one in large part because a lot of people are looking at 2023 as perhaps the best year ever in video games, and it's either 2007 or 1998 that have always pretty much had that crown before.
2023 will be up there. 2023 will be up there in the end, I reckon.
Should have been Space Games, Jesse. Should have been Space Games.
I've done Space Games like 3 times already.
Don't
I'm going to lose. Who are we playing for,
mate? Don't sleep on 2014. Massive year in games, 2014. I am playing for Martin. That's it, Martin.
Hello, Martin.
And John is playing for a Speedo model.
Sounds like
who that Speedo model is, I don't know, but a Speedo model.
Hopefully none of us. Well, if it's any of us, I hope it's Nick. Yeah.
But as always, patrons and guests, people listening, if you want the chance for Nick or I to be your champion in Name a Game, we randomly pick someone from the Patreon every week, and you get the chance to win a game out of the plethora.
Free game. That no one ever claims.
No one claims them half the time. But
all these free
to be
games.
Honest, if you're in the Patreon, you get access to the Discord and the Patreon club. There's so many giveaways on there. Like,
Sea of
it's
Stars.
probably just worth it alone. But there you go. Let's go. Dim,
All right.
what's
Right,
the
guys.
first one?
You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right. This is gonna be good. All right. The first one is Alloy Hardware Concrete.
Nick.
Metal Gear Solid.
Nice.
That is correct.
Told you, 98, mate. My vintage.
All right. Ready for the next one?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose hard. Sorry, Speedo model.
Bleak Extravagant Dance. And
Two-word
Extravagant
game.
Dance is
It's a two-word game.
Yeah, you can say it.
Bleak
Extravagant dance.
Extravagant dance. That's an interesting one.
Shit.
I can give a hint.
Oh, go on. I'll take a hint. I have a feeling on the second word. So, yeah.
I believe it is a Spanish dance.
Yeah, that's exactly. Okay. Yeah. That still doesn't help me with the first word.
It's not like Macarena or something.
Hey,
Bleak
Macarena.
Extravagant dance.
Bleak extravagant dance.
Bleak Extravagant.
Gonna start up the timer soon.
What platform?
Every platform now.
Ah, okay.
Literally everything. Originally PC.
Wow. Bleak extravagant dance.
Starting the 10-second timer.
I reckon I'm going to get really frustrated that I don't know this.
I feel like I know what the second word is, but I can't.
If you knew the second word, you
Yeah.
have it. One.
Oh, then I don't have the second
Timer
word.
up.
Is the second word tango?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nope.
So that's what I thought. I thought tango.
Are you guys ready?
What is
Yeah,
it?
go on,
Yeah,
say
what
it.
is it?
Grim Fandango.
Oh, of course. Fuck! It was the Fandango, of course. Oh,
Shit.
shit.
John, I'm surprised you're a point-and-click adventure guy. John.
I am as well, man.
So was I back in the day. I used to play Police Quest and Space Quest and everything.
I hope there's a Simon the Sorcerer one in here because I'll get that.
Shit.
I don't think that was 98.
Simon the Sorcerer 2 was, if memory serves. But
Never heard
All
of
right.
it.
Next one
whatever.
is Olfactory Escapade.
Is that meant to be Old Factory, Jesse?
Nope. Olfactory.
Olfactory.
What the hell is Old Factory?
This game came out in one region in 1998. It came out in other regions in 1999.
Oh, shit. That might make it a Dreamcast game. Shit.
Yep, it made it into 1998 by 3 days. A lot of games did.
Look, I'm going to take a gamble here. Is it a Dreamcast game?
I'm not giving any hints. You get it right or you don't.
You know what? Bugger it. Bugger it.
Go.
Sonic Adventure.
Correct.
Fuck, I'm a superstar.
Man, I'm getting
I'm like, Jesse's up to something dodgy here. I reckon this is Sonic. I don't know what the hell Olfactory is, but I've
I knew it
just
was
got
something
this
to do with
funny
hearing.
feeling. What's
All I knew-
Olfactory? What is Olfactory?
All I knew was hearing in my brain. It was like something to do with hearing. Olfactory.
No.
Olfactory
Is it?
senses.
Olfactory is about
Oh.
smell and Sonic. Don't ask me why. It is a literal simile for it, even though it's smell for Sonic. I don't know why.
Just had this feeling. When you said 98 to 99, I'm like, this is a Dreamcast game, isn't it?
This is a jip.
All
This is
right.
a jip.
Clearing the buzzers.
The next one is
I'm an old man.
The next one's going to be easy.
For Nick.
Bisected existence.
Sick.
Half-Life.
Correct.
It's back in the
Easy.
fucking game. Yes, something on PC.
Hey, it was on OG Xbox too.
A little while
No,
later.
that was on Dreamcast as well. I have the Dreamcast version.
Half-Life 2 was on Xbox.
Yes,
Half-Life
Half-Life
was never
2,
on
that's right.
Xbox.
Correct. The first Half-Life came out on PS2, I want to say,
Yep, and Dreamcast.
and unofficially on Dreamcast. Unofficially.
All right, the next one.
Clear the buzzer,
Pulsar Handiwork.
Is that one word?
One word.
It is one compound word.
I have no idea if this is correct. Pure guess, StarCraft.
Yes.
He
correct.
did
Yes!
buzz, Nick. I forgot to clear it.
Ah,
I did buzz.
Yeah, it showed he tried
Yeah.
to buzz.
I
Oh,
never
yeah?
would have got that one.
Yeah.
I never would have got that one.
Come on. I'm
Two,
back
two.
in it.
Back in.
Notice how Jesse's not putting in any Nintendo 64 games? I wonder why.
very glad.
games.
I
StarCraft.
literally got a list of top video. I've done gold. How else do I do GoldenEye? I've
98,
done GoldenEye.
96 to 98 is like peak Nintendo 64, mate.
But okay, but it was literally a Wikipedia list of the most important games in 1998, and it literally only had GoldenEye, and that was it. No.
Next one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, hit us, Tim.
Tramway Baron 2.
Sick.
Railway Tycoon 2.
Nope.
Am I close?
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know. Have I
That
just
would give it
given
away for. It would give it away to Nick if you were. But I'm going to start up the 10-second timer. What? Nick.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 2?
Wow.
Incorrect.
Okay. I don't know.
What was it? It's one of those. It's something like that.
Railroad Tycoon.
Oh,
2.
fuck off. Come on. Fuck you.
Not
You said railway. What's rail? Who's ever heard of Railway Tycoon? Railroad Tycoon.
I don't know. I was like, man, come on. That's what I meant.
It's not the name of the game.
Oh,
That's
thank
not
you.
even
a game.
No. If it was some small thing and it was like, yes, no one's ever really heard of this, maybe, but it's literally Railroad Tycoon, one of the biggest.
Roller Coaster
games.
Tycoon's a real name of a game.
Didn't come out.
Just
I
got the
can't
right one.
believe it. I was fucking.
Mhm.
So close. Yeah.
Alright,
The next
so
one's
far.
unbelievably stupid, so I'm looking forward to you guys
Okay.
trying to get it.
All right. The next one is Even Less Hairs Entrance.
He's
Nick.
got it.
Baldur's Gate.
Yep.
And he wins. Look at that.
Good job.
Nice.
Is there more?
There's
Yeah,
three
we've
more.
We've got 3 more. So, John,
played, Nick.
you can still clinch it.
No,
here.
it's over. It's over.
over.
We
Yeah,
just play
first
the
to
rest
three.
round for fun.
Oh, first
we
to
just play
three?
the.
It's just,
Oh,
this is
okay.
just for fun now. So
Got
We
it.
just
All
play
right.
for fun now.
It's
3
over.
more to go. Here we go. Looks
yeah.
fake. One word.
Looks fake. What the hell? Looks fake.
Fake.
PC game,
I f-
first and foremost.
Oh, well, then
Looks
I'm out.
fake.
One of the most well-known.
Looks fake.
It has essentially driven the graphics of many video games ever since its release.
Oh, Unreal.
Nick.
Ah, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that's
it looks
great.
fake.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Looks
Unreal.
fake. Unreal,
Yeah, but see,
yeah.
when I think Unreal, and Dim will agree with me here, when we see something awesome, we go, man, that's Unreal.
Mm-hmm. We don't say looks fake, but I get it. Get it.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand why he's gone with looks fake, but what he should have been
I tried to go with.
And we're like Unreal.
I was trying to go with the harder to guess thing, not easier.
Of
Yeah.
course.
2 more to go. The next one is Strange Cogs. One word.
They won't get this one.
Clear the buzzer.
Strange.
You don't know it,
cog.
do you? Fine.
So this is one word.
One word.
No, I reckon I might know this.
Strange cogs.
Nick.
Xenogears.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm telling you, man. 98.
And 98's your year.
Dude. I am old.
The last one is pretty funny. Burglar, the dim proposal.
I don't know the last parts. I know the name of the game.
Okay.
I just don't know
it's going to be that game.
Thief.
Yeah.
Go on.
The silent.
No.
The Shadow.
Okay.
No.
Oh.
Begins with D. It begins with D.
The Dark.
Ends with
the dark.
Yes.
The dark.
Marriage.
Bargain. Deal.
Yeah, the word is project.
Thief the Dark Project.
The Dark Project. Okay.
Oh.
There you go.
I just knew Thief. As soon as I saw
Well
Burglar,
played,
I'm like,
Nick.
okay, this is Thief.
Well played.
Did you see Jesse's like, you'll never guess this one. Xenogears.
Nice.
See the way I executed that?
Did you have the list of the 98 releases?
No, I don't need it. 98. It's 98.
We'll just ignore all the ones you didn't get, but sure.
I was 18 in 98. That's like peak fanboy gaming type of me.
God, how old would I have been in 98? 14.
I was 18, man. I had my Saturn, had my Sega Saturn back then. Mate.
Never heard of it.
And I was still upset at how Fighting Vipers looked. Just man, that Saturn port of Fighting Vipers did not look good. That was like, man. But
Yeah,
Virtua Fighter 2 was
best.
incredible.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, Virtua Fighter 2 was nuts.
Hey,
Brilliant.
it's now that time in the show where we get to hear from our wonderful patrons and their community questions every week. If you want the opportunity to submit a community question every week for this panel, you just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. Pledge your support. It's as little as a cup of coffee. I would argue if you spend like an hour a day on our forums in any capacity, are we not worth a cup of coffee to you?
Yeah. Look at
Like,
that. Don't you
if
want
you
us to
saw us
do
on the
more
street,
podcasts? Don't you want us to
and
do
you were
more
like, hey,
reviews and
Do
more
you wanna
stuff?
come have a coffee? You'd pull us over. You know, we'd be like, yeah, we'll come have a coffee with. That's what we're worth to you.
You know what you should do, John? You
What should I
should
do?
share a tab and show that Starfield review. Like imagine what we could do if we could have pre-drag and more of us able to do this more
All the
full-time.
time.
Oh, yeah, did you see our Starfield review?
I haven't watched yet. Like I said,
No,
The
go,
written one.
did you written
The
one?
written one.
no, I haven't seen it.
Go have a look, dude. Go have a look. Like, this is probably the prettiest review ever.
I'll take a look.
Like, it's genuinely gorgeous. It's on the
Don't you
front
want us
page.
doing this stuff all the time. Dim can't support us by himself. I know he makes a lot of money on YouTube, but he can't do it all on his own. He needs help supporting us.
But it's just, Pre-Drag is an incredible art guy, and the fact that we were able to pull in all of our other content that Jesse had produced, it just looks so good scrolling through it.
I'm looking at it now.
like-
Looks incredible.
All right, like,
Good stuff.
come on, this is a team of passionate amateurs.
We actually forgot a pretty critical piece of news. I'm hoping someone's asked it in the.
They have. They
questions,
mentioned
but I
it
don't
in the
think they
chat.
have.
Are you talking about the hire that Microsoft made in
The
Japan?
Japanese. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does someone mention that in community questions?
Someone did
I don't
mention
think
it in
they
the
do.
chat. I will call
We
them
forgot
out
to talk
because I
about that.
saw it.
Doesn't matter. We'll talk
They
about it next week.
said,
Maybe.
what about Shadowblade in the chat? Said, Nick, what about the former Sony partnerships person
Yeah.
that joined Xbox?
She's now been hired by Xbox for Japanese relationships.
8 years at Sony.
I'd wager their relationship with Japanese devs pretty good.
Mm.
See
Good
how
for
that
them.
turns
I
out.
forgot to put that in the news because I have been reviewing another big September. I jumped right off of Starfield.
I forgot about it too.
Yeah,
I
I jumped
forgot
right
it
off
too.
of
If I-
Starfield right into another Game Pass review. So, been busy.
Maybe someone should have super chatted it.
Yeah.
It would work.
But hey,
Okay.
before you get into this, fun fact, there are lots of people on Twitter that assumed our review of Starfield would trend negative because we'd called this episode A Field of Dim Stars.
I knew exactly what you guys were going for when you titled the name of the
It's like, It's like, oh well, we know what you think about the game. I'm like, really? Like,
is that what
You think?
I
You
didn't
think
even
we'd give it
think
away?
of that. Yeah, I didn't even think of that angle, because I'm like, oh yeah, Dim's on and Starfield. I'm like,
I know. It just made me laugh, but yeah, bless
God,
him.
and I'm normally a negative person, and I didn't even think of it in that way. Okay.
Before you dig into the questions, I've got one more super chat from Huffy Bear.
Huffy Bear, shout out MVG for the Jurassic Park with Xbox physical version. Too good.
No worries. Coming through with the Xbox.
That's
go.
it, mate.
Go buy it, everybody, so that it can be justified.
VHS one, the VHS one.
Let me get more.
It wasn't Bait Muhammad. It was literally his name.
It's
my
literally
name.
wasn't.
Yeah, his name is Dim. Demetrius. Dimitri, if you're Greek. Now, Hytham G, and now Dim can tell his parents that I'm not a crazy person. Like they were worried I might have been.
I forgot about that. But John and Jesse, when I met with Nick last year in Melbourne, Greek parents are always very, very protective of their kids, of course.
Very concerned.
It doesn't matter that I'm a 50-year-old man, and haven't lived at home for 30-something years, whatever. They said to me, be careful when you meet this guy. We don't know who he is.
It's funny.
If I was meeting Nick anywhere.
And then they're asking me, what part of Melbourne does he live in? Because depending on the part of the city you're in, depends on the level of money that you have, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Collingwood, I don't know where he lives. But yeah, it was pretty funny. They said, be careful when you meet
Be
him.
careful. He might be psycho. He might try and kill you or something.
That was my my wife's family because she's from Florida where we are now, and she flew up because we've known each other for many years online through WoW, of course, because I'm a giant nerd. But she flew up to Logan Airport in Boston, and her family's like, "Oh, you sure? Be really careful." And of course, our funny idea was like me holding a knife and her taking a picture, going "ah," and they didn't forgive us for a very long time.
Oh dear!
It's been 12 years now, so it's worked out.
Hopefully, Dim's parents have seen me now. Like maybe Dim's shown them a clip or something.
I said all sorts of bad shit about you when I got back. It was like
you made me pay for the coffee.
You're right.
Yeah, made me pay for my souvlaki and my saganaki.
Yeah.
Oh god. Pure Nick.
The words "arrogant prick" were uttered.
Yeah. Okay. Community questions. Number
Community
one.
questions. Go on, we got
20
minutes. Let's do this.
Yeah, we're breezing through quick. I'm sure if we go over a little bit, it's not a big deal. Hytham G. In the season of fall, are all of you gents ready to clean the entire mess of leaves when autumn fall starts and getting your kids school supplies until they're ready for school in September? Your gents' plans this month? Now, Hytham. Hytham, it's spring now in Melbourne, finally. Winter is over.
How is the weather right now? Is it starting to get warm or is it still cold?
It's 50-50. Like we have the odd, like tomorrow and Tuesday are supposed to be like 20 and 21, which isn't too bad.
Quite nice.
But yeah, we're still sort of, coming out.
It is fall here, and my kids have been in school, or my daughter has been in school for 2-3 weeks already. They go early because we have hurricane season, which almost hit us. So they bake in a bunch of extra days, and if they don't have to use them, they get out early. So it's very expensive.
It is not the start of term yet. My kids go back to school on Wednesday next week, or this week coming, however you want to phrase that. Single dad life. I've got a lot of uniform I need to sort through. So yeah, I'm slightly prepared for that. It will probably happen
mate.
Tuesday night.
September footy finals.
Oh god!
And Collingwood is playing Melbourne Thursday night, first time since 1989. Sold out. They're expecting nearly 100,000 people there Thursday night. Night. They're playing a Collingwood final on Thursday, Dim.
That's
on
crazy.
A Thursday.
It's
like nuts.
It's like Thursday night football here in the US with American football. Thursday night's a very, very popular evening for
It is here too, ratings-wise. Like, we've started doing it in the AFL as well, Thursday Night Football, and ratings-wise, it does really well. But you don't waste the Collingwood crowd on a Thursday night. Like,
I don't know, man. Like, it's pretty normal over here, like in London way, and probably any major city. Thursday night is go out and get absolutely smashed night, because then you just like no one goes out on Friday night because people just want to go home for the weekend. But Thursday night, you should get absolutely wasted, and you either work from home on Friday and do fuck all, or you go in and you're like, I always work with he was fucking pisshead, like in London. And I remember I used to open up the office. My hours, like, this was when I was a lot younger, 7 a.m. I used to sometimes get there, but I used to be able to fuck off at 3, and I was fine with that. I get there
7 to 3.
6. Yes, I get there at 6:45, and this is in Watling Street in London. And I open up the door and I go up the flight of stairs, and the office had like a tiny landing, and another flight of stairs, and it was Friday morning. And I turn the corner, and there's 3 sales guys, like just huddled because they didn't have a key like I did. Oh, thank God you're here! And they all just like folded into the office after I opened the door. They spent like 4 hours asleep under the desks. This was in the old days when there was no HR departments and stuff. It was great.
Yes,
yeah. Thursday nights very popular for stuff.
Okay,
interesting. Lengthy answer for Hytham G, but there you go.
Yeah, it was a lot longer than expected. DeoGame. Hello, everyone. A quick question this week. Now that Starfield is out, what do you think will be the next marquee release for Xbox? The type with custom console wraps and controllers, a push at multi-platform and Xbox-only shows, a big for Xbox ad campaign. Last second push for Forza, Hellblade 2, Avowed, ID's next? What do you reckon?
I'd say Hellblade 2, personally.
Probably.
Marquee title.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree. Like, I want to say that they'll push Forza, but racing and sim is quite niche.
It'll get stuff, like, but it just won't be. I don't think nothing's gonna approach Starfield because it is such a unique thing from one of the biggest devs out there. But for something approaching, and we're coming at it from every angle we can, I think Hellblade would be the big brooding third person cinematic title. Yeah.
Having said that, I could see a wrap. I could see a wrap and a controller for Forza.
Yeah, I think they'll do wraps for most things because
I could see that. Okay, Hellblade 2 it is. nrXic. Hello, you magnificent beasts. Over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed gaming discourse being completely bonkers, where discussions around the game quality, game reviews, and unfavorable initial impressions of games are pitting gamers against developers and journalists in a vitriolic fashion. I've always respected how Jesse deals with trolls during his Coffee with Cabeza streams, exemplifying patience and grace. I've also seen MVG raise the standard of conversation on the podcast he's been a part of, never engaging with nonsense and rising above toxicity. Just wanted to give you all props in exemplifying the sort of discourse the gaming community needs more of. We need more maturity in our discussions. Anyways, my question this week. Why are Embracer Group such stupid poo-poo heads?
Well, I must leave that there.
Well, we've spoken about Embracer before, about how we're somewhat unsure of what the strategy is, but we'll leave Embracer.
It's a very sad situation, and I hope the best for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's unfortunate, but notice, John, that nrXic didn't mention our conduct. You all right?
Don't know what he's talking about. Jesse. Jesse's the sensible one.
MVG, very mature. Jesse, well done. Nothing for me and John. Absolutely nothing.
Woof.
What the way that is. Okay. Jesse, brother. Hello, Nick, John, and Jess. Happy Father's Day to you all, including you, Dim. Nice to finally be able to see people talk about what a truly awesome game Starfield is. Great review, by the way, Jess. Question. Now that Starfield is out and mostly getting praised, unless you're that idiot Dreamcast guy, what game is the next great one for Xbox?
We didn't call you an idiot Dreamcast guy. This person in the community did.
Yes, I didn't say anything. What's the next great one for Xbox? Well, obviously they hope it's Forza Motorsport.
It's Forza Motorsport will be a solid game. Turn 10 have always delivered
84, 83.
Good games.
Solid 84, 83 Metacritic, I reckon.
Yeah.
For that one, rock solid. But if you're talking about that big, oh my God, maybe Hellblade. It might be Hellblade.
The thing with Hellblade, though, like I know we just literally spoke about Hellblade being the next marquee title. Yes, in terms of visuals, and if they flesh out the combat and it's a different game than what it was, and it's more, maybe. But if it's still leaning into that, almost horror-esque psychological side of things,
right up my alley.
It might get a lot of critical praise, but I don't know hugely about how well it will do. I guess commercially, I don't know.
Yeah,
like I will pick it up. Yeah, I know Game Pass.
And horror games are enormous. They are very big and very successful.
Yeah, it's not quite horror though. I don't know.
It's psychological, even psychological horror.
Yeah,
yeah.
We'll see. But yeah,
okay. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's nice.
I've got to click this one because it is exactly how I feel. Every game is make or break for Xbox.
Yeah, I know. Everything's
mate. The minute I see that headline from
make or break,
some stupid
and
outlet.
that's what I was alluding to that time I went a bit viral. Yeah. It was sort of that whole once you see the setup. Like I'm old enough now to see the setup in that sort of stuff, and once you start to see the setup, Starfield's got to be transformative. You know where that's going to end. You know when you see the setup. Okay. SelfishxBurrito. Hi all, especially Nick, because he's so handsome. Cheers for the Gears 6 info. Question for MVG this week. You recently expressed your displeasure for the closing of the Xbox 360 marketplace, which I think surprised no one, as you have championed game preservation and the value of emulation in gaming space for years. Kudos for that, by the way. VGC put together a list of all the games that are no longer going to be available on Xbox due to this marketplace closing, as they either aren't backwards compatible or didn't get at least an Xbox One port. However, going through the list myself, there are a lot of those games that are either still available on Steam, PlayStation 4/5, or have had special/updated editions that, while technically different SKUs, are essentially the same game. There's also the possibility they miss some games too. Are you considering / would you consider doing a video on your channel going through the games being delisted and listing the options available for players to buy them in the future / what remasters / ports are available, or if emulation is now the only option for that game once the marketplace closes?
I am probably going to do some content around this when it gets closer to time. I haven't actually sat down with that list. I know VGC has that list of all the games that had been delisted that you cannot play via backward compatibility, but obviously there is a lot of those games that are you can play elsewhere. So there's definitely ways to play those games, right? I'm not suggesting that, but I think out of that subsection of games that are being delisted, to be honest, there's probably you're gonna get the best experience on the Xbox 360 with many of these games. I feel like a lot of these games that came out during the 360 and the PS3 era, they ran better on the 360. And that's just a fact, right? So what I'm probably going to do is take a close look at the list and really kind of identify games that, number one, the ports to various other systems aren't as good as the Xbox 360 version, or potentially ones that aren't anywhere else, right? I don't think there's anything that's kind of exclusive that's not made the cut. But I guess the short answer is, or the long-winded answer that I'm giving is, I'm going to take a look at it and definitely make some content around it, because it's definitely in my wheelhouse to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that'll be good. Very good.
Good answer.
Okay.
Best answer we've had all night. Should ask you more questions.
Yeah. Okay. Topp. Hey, all.
Executive producer, Topp.
Yeah, executive producer, Topp, with that special shiny gold Patreon badge. Hey, all. What do you think about Game Pass advertising things as day one, but then those same games have early access on the premium version, which you don't get with Game Pass? EA does something similar. However, if you have their subscription service, you also get early access. P.S. My time is now forever taken away with the release of Counter-Strike 2. Well, yeah, we kind of started to talk about this earlier, and yeah, it is interesting. It's one of those ones where it just depends on how you choose to look at it and how much it bothers you, I guess. Because I understand it. if it bothers you, then yeah, it's not day one with Game Pass, because if you pay a bit more, you get it
a week early.
Yeah. So which one is
it's average
day
out to
one?
be about 5. They normally do 5 days early. That's what they did with Forza 5. That's what they did with, I don't think Redfall had it. But then they did it with Starfield, and they're doing it with Forza. It's about 5 days normally.
So then the question is, I guess that people are asking, and where the debate is, what's the real day one? Is it the day one?
Are you playing, if you buy the premium
day one?
edition, are you playing it on Game Pass, yes or no?
No.
Then you're not.
But you have to have the Game Pass subscription to pull that off.
Yeah,
you can buy it outright if you want, because you can either do the upgrade or buy it out. So I think that the way it may end up eventually going is they'll just say play it day one on Game Pass, and at the bottom it'll say standard edition available on this date, because you are getting day one for the standard.
Because that's right. Because if you have Game Pass, you're technically not getting it day one, because if you pay for that upgrade, then that's a new day one. So I'm understanding where that argument is coming from.
We all know why they're doing it, and it's to make cash.
Yes.
I mean, what do you get? What do you get with the premium edition? You get the first DLC.
You get the first expansion for Starfield.
Yeah, and
Shattered
and
Echoes.
pack.
Yeah, and the old Mars skin stuff. With Forza, I think you get cars. With with Horizon, you got their expansions. So that it's always bundled with actual content, not just skins. It's normally like even the Bite Back edition on Redfall, you get you get 2 new hunters that are going to be added in eventually. So they always bundle it more with content and not just skins, which is what Star Wars and Lies of P and some others are doing, where you can spend $10 more, play it 3 days early, but it's just skins. So it's like, they all have their own way at it, really.
I think this is the business and the industry dealing with subscription and trying to find because gamers naturally experience FOMO in a way I guess others don't. Like if a film comes out, I really want to see it. I don't have to see it day one. I can see it 2 weeks into its run at the theater or whatever. But with gaming, I feel like the way the hype cycle is introduced, the way all the reviews drop, the way that your favorite content creators start talking about games, especially if they are anticipated or particularly revered titles that are coming, this is a way for, especially from a Game Pass point of view, for the creators of those games to keep the financials tipped in the right way and still provide a subscription service. I feel like that's pretty much what the industry's kind of figuring out. It's a bit, as Nick said, it's a bit shady, like to a degree when you analyze it like that. But it's either you deal with the FOMO or you don't. It's your money, so I don't care so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I kind of joke about it. Like it's is it really day one with Game Pass? But at the end of the day, if I was in that situation where I had a product, a service like that, I would do exactly the same thing. Like it is FOMO, right? I mean, let's be honest. It is that, hey, if I pay this money, I can play this right now with people that have reviewed the game. I can get in first. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to pay for that privilege, then go for it. And you're right, Jesse. I mean, they don't explicitly say, play it first on Game Pass or whatever, right? They don't say those words, but look, I think it's fine the way they're doing it. I'd do the same thing if I was in that situation.
It's the vague business terminology where they are technically right. You are playing it day one, but what you are playing is the standard edition. You're playing it once it hits Game Pass, because it has not hit Game Pass yet. So you're playing it day one when it hits Game Pass.
Yeah, it really bugged me because I couldn't play it on Cloud Stream. I couldn't play Starfield
no cloud
on Cloud
until it's on Game Pass.
I was at Gamescom. I was like, I want to play this all stuff. And I couldn't because it doesn't work yet. But yeah, them's the breaks. There you go.
Yeah, it's an interest. Like I can see both sides of the argument. I can genuinely see both sides of it. But they got to make money. Okay, Omen. Hi all. PAX West is happening in Microsoft's backyard, Seattle. However, Xbox and all of its developers have no presence on the show floor just a day after Starfield Early Access began too. So my question is this. Why doesn't Xbox have a presence at these huge US-based gaming conventions like PAX anymore? They used to have a huge presence up until 2018, 2019. I don't know.
No idea.
They're too busy at home playing Starfield.
I can't really answer for Microsoft or Xbox, but I can speculate. I mean, PAX is it's not a trade show, you know. It's not like an E3 or a Gamescom type deal. It's more of it's just for fans, you know. Like it's a fan event that it's really just there for fans. Like there's no other part of a show like PAX where there's pitches of games going on. There's internal meetings going on, things like that. So I feel like Xbox probably doesn't feel the need to attend. But again, I don't speak for them, so I don't know if that's entirely accurate. But I think, look, there are a lot of these events every year. There are a lot of PAX events every year. There are other consumer events that go on. I think you really have to pick and choose the ones that you want to attend strategically. And for whatever reason, PAX is not something that they're really wanting to do anymore.
Yeah.
There is a thing where Bethesda didn't give Starfield to any ReadPop companies, and I think ReadPop runs PAX.
Yep, they do.
Yeah,
that is correct.
So maybe there's some bad blood there.
It could be. I mean, there's always I scratch my back, you scratch yours type of things going on that we're not privy to. But it's potentially something along those lines as well.
Yeah.
But it's very expensive to set up a booth at these events. It costs a lot of money. A lot of people don't realize. I'm talking millions of dollars in some instances. Where if you want, a good presence on the show floor, you're investing a lot of money, and sometimes you have to make a decision. Is this really worth our time? Is it really going to help us out? And I think maybe it doesn't in this scenario.
I think they just spent many millions at Gamescom building a freaking theater, and they went all out.
Yep. Now we do have a few more questions, Dim. So if you
I can stick around for them. I can stick around for a few more questions. Let's do it.
Yeah,
they're not try to pump through them because it's actually not me that's giving the long-winded answers now. It's all you three, so it's not even me doing it now.
Talk.
Okay. 99 Rukin. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. I have two questions. The first is a yes or no. Should Microsoft offer Embracer money to get Gearbox from them? Second question, why is the media so biased when it comes to Microsoft and Sony? Can you explain why?
Wow, that's
first question.
That's a long...
the Gearbox thing, I mean, I don't know. Gearbox is doing okay, aren't they? So I don't know why Embracer would let them go.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Gearbox is doing all right. I could see a world where Embracer is like, okay, this studio's not doing the best. Hey, Phil, Satya, you want to maybe take them off our hands?
For them, it's got to be Crystal Dynamics and are developing Perfect Dark, a first-party game. They're the ones that make sense. If Embracer want to make some cash...
I understand. I'm just saying, like, Gearbox is doing okay. So why would Embracer want to let them go?
Yeah, quite right.
Like, I could see Embracer offloading a studio that's maybe not doing the best, but not one of their better ones, the higher performing ones.
Why are the media so biased when it comes to Microsoft and Sony? Can you explain why in 10 words or less?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just a subconscious thing due to the generation these people came from. I don't know. It's a very in-depth discussion that we probably don't have time for right now.
No.
And I already got hammered on Twitter once. I'm not going to have that happen again.
Fair.
It's funny how selectively they choose who to go after on Twitter, isn't it? There's a very cliquey thing going on with the San Francisco bubble on Twitter, huh? Because it was funny how I saw Jez. It's funny how I saw Jez cop it for something, but Tassie didn't cop it for saying the exact same thing as Jez.
Is that?
I didn't see the bubble. I didn't see the bubble go after. I didn't see the bubble go after Tassie. Wonder why.
Yeah.
Interesting, that.
Anyway.
Don't worry. It's me. I know dodgy when I see dodgy. Dodgy recognizes dodgy. Don't worry. Okay. Abe. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I have to say, it's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
My questions, do you think we'll get another Battlefront game? If you were in charge of developing it, what would it look like? If not Battlefront, what's another Star Wars game you would make? Mandalorian. Personally, I would like to see a remaster of Republic Commando. I never played the original and probably never will. But if it was remastered, I would give it a shot. Anyway, thanks for putting on a show every week. Keep up the great work. Thanks,
Can I give a response to the Star Wars game?
Yes.
So my very, very good friends at Night Dive Studios,
Dark
I want
Forces.
them... Well, they're doing Dark Forces, which is awesome. I want them to do Shadows of the Empire. Stephen, if you're watching, Shadows of the Empire. Make it happen.
Get Stephen to watch us. We follow each other on Twitter. He randomly followed me one day. I tagged him on Twitter to ask him a question. He did not answer the question, but started following me.
After, just clip this little bit, and I'll send it to him.
Yeah. Dark Forces is great, but Shadows of the Empire.
I love Dark Forces. Dark Forces is so good though. Like if the people watching are too young to have played Dark Forces, it's a first-person shooter set in the Star Wars universe. God, it was a good game though. Dark Forces.
Great. I have to say though, Republic Commando was great as well.
That's backwards compatible.
Up. It is backwards compatible, yeah.
And it looks really good.
Yeah, up-res.
On the Series X, it looks incredible.
Yeah, worth a shout.
Yes.
Definitely worth a go.
I'd make a Mandalorian game.
Of course you would.
Like, Mandalorian is ripe for a video game adaptation. Good old Collingwood. Happy Labor Day weekend, John and Jesse. Happy Father's Day, Nick and Dim. I hope you got sleep in. No. At Gamescom, Xbox Chief Marketing Officer Jared West said that Starfield represented the start of a multi-year relay race for first-party titles, where there would be a steady rhythm of game launches from 2023 onwards, which begs the question, is it fine to forget about 2022? Do we need to be constantly reminded that 2022 was a flat year for games for Xbox anymore? That we need to be told about the year that there were no AAA games, in the same way we are reminded of the Xbox 360's Ring of Death or the Xbox One launch? Or can we look forward to a bright future of unending stream of games where 2022 is only whispered to small children to make them behave, a year that is only remembered by old codgers in the verandas of old folks' homes? Yeah, I mean, that's Xbox's lot, isn't it? The hurdles are remembered forever, and the no, that's not true. People still credit Xbox with pioneering online multiplayer and digital marketplace with Xbox 360 and stuff like, and having great controller. And
I wonder when we're going to start seeing the Sony's very dry 2023 output articles and headlines.
You won't, because Sony has the credits in the bank that Xbox doesn't.
I see.
Sony has the credit because, well, I understand the argument. Years like 2022 for Microsoft, even though there were some games, there was Flight Sim, there was Pentiment, there was a few others. Microsoft's 2022 is a more frequent occurrence than Sony's 2023. That's why you won't see those articles. It's not so much that it's been like Sony has nothing this year except for Spider-Man. But A, Spider-Man will be a massive game, and B, this doesn't happen as frequently for Sony.
Yeah.
That's why you won't see the articles. That's the diplomatic answer.
Good answer.
I don't think their 2021 wasn't that big either, really.
It wasn't. Their 2021 wasn't anything special either. But yeah. Anyway.
They very smartly just held off, and they kept things PS5 only, so they felt exclusive and like they'd only ever worked there. So it carried them pretty well.
Okay, 2 more questions. Let's burn. Townsend. Hello, gents. Congrats on the Starfield coverage this week. Top-notch work as always. Special thanks again to Sick for his take on Starfield. As a fellow Mass Effect lover and also not being a Bethesda RPG player, can you advise anything comparable or similar between Mass Effect and Starfield that can draw me in even further? Please don't say the different door openings. Apologies to Nick for asking a Starfield question today as I missed the AMA. Have a great weekend, chaps.
Man, back in the day, Freelancer. Do you remember Freelancer, Dim?
I do. Yeah, I do. Very good game.
That was a game. Knights of the Old Republic 2. Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 were games that I really, really loved when I was a kid. But no, since Mass Effect 2, Starfield reminds me a lot of Mass Effect 2 in terms of what it's building towards. And I'm loving it for that. And I'm surprised that I'm enjoying the RPG mechanics. But yes, it does have the best space doors in all of video game ever. They are really good.
What a sliding doors moment that could have been if Microsoft had bought BioWare back then.
Yeah.
And they could have had Mass Effect and Starfield now if they had bought BioWare.
Whoops. Never mind.
Imagine that. Imagine if they owned both Mass Effect and Starfield.
Yeah. With the way it went, they ended up not shutting down almost everyone they had. So who knows what BioWare would be.
Lucky they didn't shut down BioWare.
Yeah.
Last question.
Okay. Last question.
And then we can let Dim go.
Yep. Last question. Hey all.
Yep.
I just wanted to share some good news. My mum finally was able to get health insurance after many frustrating years of attempts. To go with that, some extra cash from her social security to pay for it. So it's actually just affordable for her.
Oh, that is excellent news.
Yes, that's been an ongoing long-term campaign, that one. The mountains of medical debt still exist, but it's a huge win for my family, and the XboxEra community has been a massive supporter of the overall help to alleviate some of that burden on tougher months. With that said, I think I can get back to making meme stuff for the shorts without having as much of a burden in the back of my mind. It's all right, mate. Family first.
Man, I've watched some of those shorts and they still crack me up. Like, he's really good at making them. Like, I love them.
Boy, this country sure is great when one member of your whole family can afford healthcare.
Woof.
Anyways, here's a can of worms to open up because I need help understanding this as someone who doesn't review games. Why don't we just accept gaming scores by what the majority dictate they mean? If perception is reality, 7 is mediocre, otherwise devs/publishers would be flaunting that when they make the review score posters for games. Same with 3 out of 5s, right? So just give it an 8 because that's baseline good to gamers. They'll always be whinging, I suppose, but maybe slightly less of it. Love you all. Prepare for being memed later, Creaky.
Thanks,
man.
Creaky.
This is, I don't know how Dim feels about it, but I hate the modern day, I just call it the fanboy scale, which is
no one uses the full scale.
No one uses the full scale.
We do.
Thanks to sites like IGN and GameSpot, the big sites, because remember, how many years have I been complaining about this? 10s get given out too easily.
Oh, yeah.
Everything gets a 10 now. Everything is 10. Everything.
Yep.
Back in mine and Dim's day, yes, old man yelling at clouds, if a game got a 10 or a 9, it was like, whoa, this game must be special. Holy shit. This game must be amazing. Now it's like spoiler alert, when Last of Us Part 3 comes out, they're all going to give it 10s. Doesn't matter what's wrong with it, they're all going to give it 10s. It doesn't matter. So it's made the score 10 meaningless. So what happens now is 10 is amazing, you have to buy it. 9, pretty good. 8, okay. 7 and below, your game sucks. That's what the scale is now.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what the modern day scale is, thanks to all the big outlets giving everything a 10.
What's your take, Tim?
I think Nick's trolling a little bit, but for the most part, I do agree with him. Like, I think a 10 is still a special game, no matter what. But I do agree that reviewers hand out 10s a lot more than they used to back in the day. Because a 10, like you said, was something that was, just
genre defining.
Yeah, it was transformative, right? Generation, once in a generation type of game. You would see. I don't know. Like I've never really put too much stock into reviews personally. And I guess maybe it was when IGN did God Hand back in the PS2 days. They gave it 3 out of 10, and God Hand is one of my favorite games of all time.
It's a great game.
Even back then, I was like, I don't really need to follow a reviewer. I think for me, I've always just bought a game and kind of experienced it on my own terms. Look, do I look at Metacritic scores? Absolutely. As a game developer, yeah, we look at scores. If a game that I've worked on releases, I want to look at the reviews and see what people think. I want to make sure that the game isn't crashing and all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, I tend to not focus on reviews too much. I check them out. I think it's a cool talking point. It's interesting to talk about Metacritic scores, but beyond that, I don't really put too much stock into it.
Yeah, my general take is if you like, it's great to watch reviews to get a general feel for a game, but typically find the reviewer or reviewers that most align with what you like in gaming and hear their thoughts. And if they're aligned with how you think about those games, then that's a good barometer to go and follow. But I also agree with the overall approach of scoring now, in that, like, and GameSpot was putting out like, hey, look, according to our scoring policy, 7 means good. And I think Jess, again, getting himself into hot water, he pointed out on Twitter, he was like, yeah, but that's not the gist. And indeed, when you went viral, Nick, a few months back, that's kind of what you were saying. It was like, look, 7's not a bad score. But you also know
mid-80s is great.
It's the score that will generate controversy, despite it technically not being controversial.
Again, my wording was poor, but that is what I was trying to say. I said, I predicted that Starfield would be an 85 Metacritic. It's an 87. I wasn't off by much, was I?
No.
Now, why was I able to predict that so well? Because I now know how all this works. Starfield being an 85 will generate more discussion around.
It will probably end up around there when Metro and Eurogamer get there.
Yeah, when a few of those others come along, they'll knock it down a couple.
It's technically an 88. They do weighting, so the IGNs and the GameSpots do matter a lot more than
but 85,
a lot of the other
even
sites.
If it's 85. 85 is actually fantastic. It's a really, really good game.
Yep.
It's just that in today's modern scale, it's not good enough. It's not, oh my God, amazing. It's not unbelievable. That's the issue I have with it.
Right. Okay,
there's a couple stats. There's a couple stats. If there's 2,000 games reviewed on GameSpot, they've got a 70 average. There's 2,000 games reviewed on IGN, they've got a 75 average. It's like that's their average. So I know they say it means good, but it's their average. So
that's
okay.
Right.
But there you go. That is all of the community questions, and that's on the nose. We're here just in time to thank Dim. So he can go ring his dad and wish him. What's the Greek phrase? What are you going to say to your old man?
Chronia.
There you go. But Dim, dude, thank you so much for joining us again today. Fifth time. We'll have you back for a sixth, I have no doubt.
Thank you, fellas. It's always fun to hang out with you guys. I really enjoy it. And until the next one, I'm sure we'll be on again soon.
Hopefully I'll see you in Melbourne soon.
Probably not next year. Probably not this year, Nick. This year is my wife and I said no overseas travel this year. But next year I'll probably be back in Melbourne. I'm thinking tentatively around Easter, Greek Easter. So keep that in mind. But,
okay, good.
For now, probably not going to be traveling down there until next year. All right, but yeah, thanks for having me on, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Dim.
Thanks, mate.
And that's that, folks. It's the end of the show. Unless there's anything else we want to talk about. Should we talk about some more Starfield things, Jesse?
No.
What?
No. My kids will be waiting to give me like a Father's Day present, like I guess coffee brought in.
Guess what we can do if they do. Boop. Hey!
Assassin in the chat. Good show, guys. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7 out of 10.
Man, honestly, I was like, it's so funny watching the discourse on this, and it just like the discourse, the talking around video games is broken. Like so many people tweeting fucking irrelevant games to us.
It's too much. There's too much parasocial relationship going on where people know that they can annoy you. They know they can piss you off, and so they just want to reach out. And it's like I have no problem with anyone wanting to give a game a 7. I just want the text to back it up, and I just have a fundamental disagreement with the GameSpot and the Paste review, Paste magazine. No one's talking about Paste, which gave it a 5, or Merit Station, which gave it a 5.8.
Who the fuck are Paste magazine? Never heard of them before.
They don't do many reviews. The guy who did it, the last thing he reviewed was Redfall, which he gave a 4, I think.
So he's saying it's only a tiny bit better than Redfall.
And this is the thing. This is the stuff that gets me in trouble, but it's also the stuff that no one seems to want to say. So there's a certain reviewer that yearned for going back to the underrated No Man's Sky. But, this certain reviewer may have forgot that he himself reviewed No Man's Sky and gave it a 6. So...
But it's a really good game now after all the updates.
Well, no, the wording was...
of updates.
The wording was criminally underrated at launch. And it was underrated by him. It's silly.
He
People
underrated
always...
it. He gave it a 6.
Yeah, people always look at, well, you gave this game this and this game this. And it's like, okay, they're different games in different genres by different devs. Half the time you're doing this,
fine.
It's different reviewers.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Giving No Man's Sky a 6 and Starfield a 7 in and of itself is fine. But when you mention in your Starfield review that you wish it was more like No Man's Sky, which you gave a 6...
I just mean in general, like all the people that came at me, you gave Redfall an 8.5, but you only give Armored Core a 6.5. I'm like, you do know there's like 10 people that gave it a lower score than me, and one of them's VG247, who also gave... But I'm just saying in general, people will always compare. And I know the point you're making, but also just in general, it always harkens back to the fact that people will always... And your one works because it's literally the same person making a statement. But
That's
people
right.
will just
the same
ignore
person.
that. Yeah, people will ignore that and then just start talking about how, oh, well, you gave this, so how can you give this? I'm like, well, okay, that, like someone said it on Ursul's Immortals of Avium. Oh, you give this a better score than Armored Core? And it's like, well, he didn't review Armored Core. I did. So his review of Immortals of Avium has nothing to do.
But then that goes to a deeper discussion. Like, for example, I was surprised to not see one of Ryan or Destin reviewing Starfield.
Right, so was I.
As two of the Xbox, because I don't think IGN does sections anymore, do they? They don't have like an Xbox section and a PlayStation section and a Nintendo section. I don't think. But Destin and Ryan are kind of just sort of known as the Xbox guys on IGN. So I was personally surprised to see that neither of those two reviewed it. And I don't know.
Ryan McCaffrey's job is listed as executive editor of previews and just executive editor. Oh yeah, just executive editor previews. That is his job title.
Okay, well, my job title is podcast lead, but I've still reviewed some games here and there. But
Dan Stapleton is the reviews editor, so
like everyone knows that I don't like JRPGs. So why would we then get me to review? Let's just say Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out on Xbox. Let's just say, hypothetically. It'd be silly to get me to review it because I'm probably going to give it a low score because I hate JRPGs. So,
but in that situation, like Dan had done the last actual Bethesda Game Studios release, he gave a 9.5 to Fallout 4. So,
and that's the thing. Like, I've played a bit of Fallout 4, and certainly from my perspective, and yes, okay, I haven't completed Fallout 4. But I bounced right off Fallout 4 because I found it really boring, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. But Starfield has me absolutely hooked. Like, I would just say,
in this situation, you never know why someone does or doesn't review something at a company. We don't know. There's probably a reason.
But look, I mean, I'm not necessarily criticizing any of the individuals that make the reviews. I think though that the unwillingness to look at how the industry talks about the platform, the way that they position articles, and then act all indignant and surprised when, some of them questionably sanity-wise, but people come at them and go like, "You're biased." No, I'm not. Well, okay, same as how they would compare Redfall and Armored Core 6 to Starfield and all of the reviews. It's the same way. Like, we are tarred with that brush. Right. And if you are an outlet that is constantly, because let's be frank, if Microsoft didn't exist, there'd be fuck all to talk about in the video game industry a lot of the time. There'd be fuck all to talk about.
Yeah, there wouldn't be much.
Occasional game releases. Microsoft actually has some regular news drops, etc., right? And they often announce things and they talk about stuff. So if you're constantly negative, or you constantly try and find the negative, and then act surprised when people come at you and claim bias, I find that a little bit disingenuous. Like, come on, you're not an idiot. They're the same. You're being painted with that brush, but you aren't helping. Whereas if you're an outlet with an Xbox in their name, well, you're all fanboys. So I don't know. It's a mess. It's just so shit listening to it, reading it.
And any of the decent discourse or decent pushback just gets drowned out by the idiots who attack and call names. And so then you end up getting a lot of circling the wagons because people are just being supreme shitheads. And it just ruins the actual point that I hope, us as more sane people might bring up about things just in general, the way they end up going and working. It's like, we didn't make up the fact that Microsoft themselves inside Xbox called GameSpot full of fanboy reviewers. And it's like
petty fanboy reviewers.
Yeah, like that's their feeling. I personally, I highly doubt. I don't know. I don't think anyone goes into any of these things looking, because I know people always say to me all the time, like, oh, you gave it a bad score just to get people to watch you, or you gave it a good score just to get people to watch you. And it's like, well, no, the score is pretty much always the last thing I think about. And then I just reach up my butt and I grab a score that feels right and I put it there. There's no science behind it. There are definitely clickbait sites. There are definitely sites that might be looking for that. I don't know that the big ones need that, because most of their content drivers are guides. Like, you look at IGN, you look at GameSpot, they are inundated with Starfield and Baldur's Gate's guides. And like, GameSpot didn't even review Baldur's Gate 3. Like, they haven't reviewed it since it launched 2 years ago in early access. They gave it a 6, which is a weird thing to score an early access game, but it was $60, so I actually get it in that point. But guides. They want guides. They don't. Reviews are just something they do because it's expected of them, I feel.
Yeah.
I still think there's an argument. I still think there's a discussion to be had around who you get to review a game. Like, if I was reviewing Starfield for us, it probably would have got a low score as well. Because I just have cutscenes. It would have bored me. I would have been wandering around, probably not understanding where I was going or what I was doing, and I probably would have been too lazy to check those in-game help file things, which probably explains a lot of what the game is doing, but I would have been too lazy to check them, wouldn't have known what I was doing, and I would have been like, this game sucks, you don't even know where to go. I probably would have given it like a 6 or something, and we would have copped it for giving Starfield a 6. So it's like, so don't get Nick to review Starfield.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You should review games that are in your lane, right? And
that's why whenever we get a scrolling beat 'em up, who reviews them? I review 90% of the scrolling beat 'em ups, and that's my thing.
And John likes mech games, but I like mecha games, so I did Armored Core, and I just didn't vibe with the game loop of it, and I know how it works. I beat it 3 times. I got all 3 endings. I know how Armored Core works. I didn't struggle at it. I simply didn't enjoy it. And then you get that thing where people are just like, well, I don't want you're a hive mind and you got to speak the truth. I'm like, the only truth you want me to speak is whatever you want to hear. That's like, that ends up, you want the echo chamber and the hive mind. And we have Xbox in our name. So people like Z Huge will make fun of, they've got Xbox in their name sites, but we only have Xbox in our name because we felt there was a dearth of dedicated coverage for the platform. He doesn't give a shit about Xbox. He doesn't. He didn't start an Xbox site because he loves Xbox and wants to make it better on OpenCritic and Metacritic, aggregates. It's just there weren't many people that really covered the platform that were dedicated to know it really well and not be clickbait about it. And that's like, you've got your pure Xboxes and your True Achievements and other really good sites, but none of the big ones were that dedicated or knowledgeable about it. We wanted to try and see if we could fit that niche, and we've grown pretty darn fast because people really wanted that.
Yeah.
Britt, not only did I not get an apology, I got blocked as well for pointing it out, saying, "Oh, I wonder if an apology might be forthcoming." Got blocked for it.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Man doesn't know how to apologize.
Ah, man, I got so many tags over IGN's review of.
Yeah, and we got
Starfield.
tagged. We got tagged by Zed Huge again. I know you saw that, right? We got tagged again on.
Oh,
Twitter
he didn't tag us.
Well, no, he didn't,
mentioned
but he
us.
called us out.
He just mentioned us.
It
'cause
was
we had
more-
Xbox in his
yeah,
name.
he was
The
more
picture of
calling out-
maturity, young Daniel.
It was more calling out fanboys in his eyes, and like calling out, oh, you don't like these, you just want to trust every review from a site that has Xbox in the name. I was like, well, we all have Xbox in the name because it's what we're dedicated to covering. You can look at every single one of those sites and look at all their 10s and 9s, and all of them will massively pale in comparison to a couple of other sites that have 80 to 100 10s that they've given out in like a decade. It's kind of crazy what you can find out there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I found it ironic, that whole conversation about talking about attacking journalists and all of this. Then we get called out, and I'm like, so wait, you're complaining about people attacking, and then you literally
And
attack
then you
us.
go do it. And then you go do it.
Or like with
That's why I
Jez
said
saying,
he's a
it
picture of
seems
maturity.
with Jez saying that Seven seems cynical on this, and Tassie saying he doesn't understand anyone. He doesn't understand giving it a 7. And Tassie doesn't get anything because he's part of the group. But then
He's
Jez,
part of the clique.
like Jez gets like grow up comments and other stuff, and it's like, well, I mean,
That's
he's
what I
just,
mean. Like that's in poor taste, and that's what I mentioned earlier. So Jez says the 7s seem a bit cynical and cops it from. Oh, again, I prefer not to name names more often than not, but Jez copped it from certain circles of the US journalistic games media clique. But then Tassie says, I can't believe anyone would give it a 7. Nothing. Tumbleweeds from the clique. But then Jez cops it. Same with when my thing went viral. I copped it from the clique. But then when I
which is
kind
it's also
of ended up being right, nothing.
it's just it ends up being people pointing out stuff that they think is unhealthy or mean to do, then being that very thing themselves, and it's like it's just hypocritical and annoying. But what can you do?
The thing is, some people do
Something-
take it too far. Like I saw people like actually finding out certain reviewers, like pictures of them, like that happen to be
Yeah.
cosplaying
Digging through
as
the
as
history
PlayStation.
and all that
I'm like,
sort of
come
stuff.
on, man! It's a fucking video game. It's a big kid's toy. All right,
Hmm.
we're just lucky enough to have grown up in the generation where we can now afford all the big kids' toys, and that's basically what this industry is: a bunch of big kids playing games.
Like I said, the problem is there's a system to the whole thing. Like, even if it's a subconscious one, like I said, I saw the setup. Once I started seeing the comments about Starfield needing to be transformative, that's the setup for later down the track. Because then you get to then follow up on that once you see the Metacritic scores and all that sort of stuff come out. It's a bit disappointing, and I find it interesting that reviews are still as relevant as they are. I would have expected that as time went on, between things like Let's Plays, Twitch, YouTube, Game Pass, I feel like you'd think reviews would be less and less relevant as time goes on. Like, surely most of us have been playing games long enough just to trust our own eyes. Like, you know, when we were talking earlier, me and how in mine and Dim's day, if a game got a high score, it was a big deal. Because back then, we didn't have Let's Plays. We didn't have YouTube trailers that we could see the game and what it looked like. It was all in magazines with some screenshots, and most of them were bull shots. That's all we had back then. So you relied on reviews to inform you. So, and for me, the story I always go back to about reviews and what they meant to me is God of War, right? 2005 God of War, not the new one. I had never heard of it because, again, there was no such thing back then as games coverage on YouTube or anything like that, right? And you only had monthly magazines and stuff like that. I had never heard of God of War on PlayStation 2. Had never heard a single thing about it. And one day I'm on IGN's website and I see a review for God of War, 9.8. I was like, whoa. I was like, what the hell is this? So I literally checked out God of War purely based on that IGN review. because back then a 9.8 wasn't a common occurrence. It meant something back in 2005. So I checked out God of War, and it was one of my all-time favorite games.
Yeah.
Purely, solely on that review. That wouldn't happen now. Because 10s get given out like candy now, if I see a 10, it means nothing to me. I'm like, oh, I don't see a 10 now and go, ooh, I better check that game out because I already know why it got a 10 or whatever it is. If it's a big tentpole AAA, and I think that's what makes Starfield's reviews stand out so much, the fact that IGN so rarely give the big hyped AAA releases less than a 9, I think that's why that 7 stood out to people so much. Because it's true. IGN gave 10 to Forza Horizon, a 9 to Halo, and 10 to Pentiment, and all that sort of stuff. So that's why I think that 7 stood out the way it did. Because they give out 10s like candy to everything.
Yeah. I think for me, the way I approach scoring something, I don't so much put it out of my arse, but when I think about what I've played through, I always try and think to myself, okay, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example of a game I gave a 10. Inside. I played Inside. I've played a ton of side-scrolly, puzzly, platformy things, right? But Inside was the moment where I was like, okay, of this genre, this game has done everything better than any game that's ever done it before. And it also blew my mind at the end. Like, and it's for those, I think when I bump that score up, for me, it's when it goes above and beyond the standard things that a genre game does. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I don't know. And I think as well, the difficulty with reviewing games in such short time frames is often you are pushed to finish it because obviously as a reviewer, you want to finish the whole thing so you can actually speak from a place of full knowledge. Often as fans of video games, I think this is a thing that all reviewers just refuse to acknowledge. All right. And I'm going to acknowledge it. As fans of video games, if I've grown up being a fan of Halo, and I get handed the new Halo to play, I am excited already because I love Halo. And it clouds the judgment of me. So you almost have to kind of, it's so much better when you've got a longer period of time because you can take a breather. You can walk away and you can sit and you can actually really think about it. But when you've just finished it, you can often be full of like the woo. And I think that's going to happen when that Last of Us Part 3 comes out. There's going to be so many people that are so invested into the story and those characters, and they'll come off of it and they'll go, whoa! What was the game that came out recently that everyone said, oh, it's fixed all Breath of the Wild 2. Fixed all of Breath of the Wild's problems. And I'm like, you gave it a 10. What problems? So you were problems. But you were so blown away because you got to play a new Zelda game.
I know.
So you can get, no one talks about
I've said this before. Here's the thing with reviews, and I'm going to do my best to choose my words carefully. Xbox games get reviewed. They get reviewed. They are reviewed. People go through them, they play them, they say, yep, this is what's great, this is what's bad, blah, 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 blah. I find with PlayStation games, and to a lesser extent Nintendo games, they're more like ads and less like reviews. More like. I'm not saying they are ads. They're more like ads. Like, as I've said before, I voted for God of War 2018 as my game of the year. I thought that was the best game that came out in 2018, God of War.
Red Dead. Excuse me.
But it wasn't a 10 out of 10 game. God of War had serious issues, despite being a fantastic game. It's too long. Its menu is garbage. Its upgrade and RPG system is worthless. But it's still a great game. But guess what? I barely read that in any of the major sites' reviews.
You did it on the second go round.
They were so busy gushing and so tripping over themselves to give God of War a 10 that they didn't mention anything that was wrong with it. And then guess what happened? Santa Monica didn't hear any of the criticism because everyone was too busy tripping over themselves to give it a 10. Ragnarok came along and had all the same problems. because no one actually reviewed it and critiqued it. It was just an ad. It was just, oh my God, this is amazing, and it takes me back to my childhood, and it made me feel all the feels. It wasn't a review.
Yeah.
So of course they didn't learn anything, and God of War Ragnarok's menu's even worse. Its upgrade system's even more worthless and convoluted, and it's even longer and more bloated. Still a good game, still perfectly good, but
no learnings. No learnings were taken. Because no one
this time around, I started to see a couple of reviews that suddenly mentioned the UI and the menu and all. Now, this time around. So we'll see if the next God of War has it fixed. I doubt it, but we'll see if the next God of War has it fixed. Yeah. But with Xbox games, you get reviews. They nitpick everything. And I'm saying that in a good way, because that's what a review should be. You should say, okay, I love the story and I love the visuals, but the pacing's not the best, or the collection system is convoluted. That's a review. That's you saying what's good and bad about something. When all you're doing is just gushing and talking about how it makes you feel this and the feelings and that's not a review anymore.
Like, I could already say that the loading times in Starfield are really annoying. I can say that. Like, it's very plainly obvious, right? I think that's, Jesse, why you didn't give it like a masterpiece score, because do you know what, guys, this is a massive drawback from the way you design the game, but it is what it is. But it prevents it from jumping up that scale completely, right? But and I think about when we review what's it called, when we review games from indie devs that we've had on this show.
Bethesda has betrayed
the fan base. The Xbox
YouTubers are in on it. I don't know what that means.
We're getting it with trolls now.
Oh, okay. We're getting trolled. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. When we've had indie devs on and we've reviewed their games, and we're friends with these people, but we also have to say as players, hey, here's everything your game did really cool that we loved, but hey, also, I wasn't a big fan of this, this, and this. Like, what did we give Falconeer?
8. I gave it an 8.
Yeah, like, it did some really cool things, but here's the things that prevented it from jumping up that scale,
Confession, I hate reviewing games.
Yeah, it's
like, when I was younger, I used to be like, oh my God, I'd love to grow up and just be a game reviewer. Because you're a kid. Kids are stupid. Now that I'm an adult, I hate it. And not because it's work or whatever, but like, it's this weird, that's why I hate scores. Like, I really hate scores, because I'm in this weird space where there are people who have worked super, 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 super hard on this game. And here I am. Now, don't get me wrong, our scores mean nothing in the wider community. Like, we don't have a volume like IGN has or GameSpot has or Edge, Eurogamer. And we're just these pleb losers that play the game and go, 7, 10, 9. And that's all people see. Like, and especially indies. Like, I feel we try to prop up indies. Like, next week we should have one of the devs from Purple Tree on to talk about Thunder Ray.
Yep.
But, like, over these last 4 years, I've had indie devs reach out to me, offer me codes for their games. Hey, would you like to review our game? And I'm like, oh, yeah, because in my mind, I'm like, I'd love to highlight your game that gets drowned in this sea of AAA and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, I get terrified, because I'm like, what if I don't like their game?
That happened with me. That Madison game that I reviewed, and I gave a 4, and then we get an email directly from the one guy who made it, and I'm like, I feel bad. Thankfully,
I feel horrible.
Yeah, it was an email that literally said PR gave you the wrong build, and that's why it's so broken. And so I was able to go back, replay it, go, okay, yes, this actually works now, and I was able to up it. But in the most point, you're like, you feel bad if you crap on someone's hard work, especially when they're super excited about it.
So again, I try and word my reviews as, I try my best to put a positive spin on what I think is wrong with the game, if that makes sense. Like, I like developing the friendships with developers that I do. Like, I like that I became mates with Johnny Galvatron. I like that I became mate with Thomas Sala, and I enjoy that side of all of this. That's the part I enjoy. Getting to know Dim and getting to know Grub and Johnny Galvatron. That's the part of this I enjoy the most. But then when I review one of their games, I get all what, because all I worry is, what if I hate it? What if I hate this game?
Mate, there's nothing more daunting. Like, what's Ghost Runner? I said, oh, okay, I'll try and review it. And I look, it's fucking hard. I whacked it down to the easiest difficulty. I still couldn't do it. I can't review a game I can't complete. And I'm just like, what do I do here? There's nothing worse than feeling like, oh, okay, I'm not shit at video games, but man, that was ball-breakingly hard. And it was like, okay,
that's different.
You've got to dedicate your entire life to trying to like get good at this. And I'm just like, man. And this is the thing. Like, reviewing games is real hard, right? And it doesn't mean that Ghost Runner's not a good game. It's just probably not a game for me. So I try. We all have our, and this is the way this team operates. We all have our, scrolling beat 'em up guy. Pretty much anything Dark Soulsy for Jesse. But you're an eclectic gamer. You play a wide variety of genres. You like a lot of stuff. You like trading, like the card battle games. You like the RPGs. Like we have Fairy, who does a lot of racing stuff. Soul plays a lot of a wide variety of games as well. I'm very indie. We had Harmy, who was very indie based.
For me, it's more what don't I try versus what am I into. So
yeah.
And in the end, for me, it's just when it comes to a score and what's a score going to be, it's just it just has to be how I feel. And it's like, if I feel bad about it, like giving a game that I figured, I'm really enjoying this Gotham Knights, I'm going to score it pretty high because I have really loved it, especially playing a lot of co-op with my brother and all this stuff. And I'm like, and I bet you, I know from how the industry has been talking about this game for 2 years, it's probably going to get shit on nonstop, and it did. And then it's been other ways where I'm like, I'm not enjoying Armored Core. I know this is the Armored Core, setup for how they do things. I just don't find it enjoyable at all. But nobody else wanted to review it. We get one code. I beat it. I gave it every chance I could. And I'm like, this plays pretty well. It can look nice. The music's pretty good. The story sucks. The way it introduces lore and missions, I just don't like, so I got to give it an honest score. And in the end, it just comes down to, once I've made a decision, I won't waver from it. Because like you've asked me before, and other people have asked me, do you wish you gave something a different score? And it's like, well, no, because then I'd be lying.
Yeah,
because in the end,
and it's one person's opinion, and that's the biggest thing. Is people go, you guys gave XX. Like you guys
we still cop it. We still continue to cop it for Redfall, and we will forever.
Yeah,
like everyone's like, oh, they gave Redfall this. Like I had some idiot on Twitter that was like, oh, you've already got your 10 out of 10 for Starfield book, don't you? I'm like, I'm not even playing Starfield. I'm like, you're clearly proving you don't watch our show or follow me on Twitter, because if you did, you'd know I don't give two rats about Starfield.
And it's weird.
And if I did review it, it would be a low score.
People really latch on to it, even though I was never the outlier highest, and I've never been the outlier lowest. I've been more middle. There are sites I gave 9s and 9.5s, but yeah.
We have Xbox in our name.
We have a very punchable face as one of the main faces of our channel.
My face is the only thing holding everything back.
No, people want to punch it because you're too handsome.
I'm saying, funny how they never call out VGC about Redfall. They gave Redfall basically the same score we did.
And
VGC.
Also Armored Core, the exact same score.
Yeah. Yet no one says anything because they don't have Xbox in their name. And that's my thing. I just like consistency, and I like it when people are genuine. And Mohammed Sharez with a $2 super chat, concur with Nick. Proper reviews improve games. Yes, they do. If a developer hears what's wrong with their game pretty consistently in reviews, they'll be like, oh, we never thought about it that way. You know what? For the sequel, we'll fix that up. But if you never hear critique of what's actually wrong with your game, even if your game is fantastic, because you can have a fantastic, awesome game that has stuff wrong with it. You can have that. Not with Super Mario Odyssey, but with other games that do have stuff wrong with them.
See, he does have his 10 out of 10 for Super Mario Wonder already.
That's the only one. That's the only one.
No
Super
Wonder.
Mario Odyssey.
No Wonder. No, that's your second.
No, well, I have to play Wonder first. There may be, when I play Wonder, there may end up being something.
It's
wrong with
really
it when I
funny
play
that you
Wonder.
spent $1,000 on Zelda and are not going to come anywhere close to beating it.
No, I probably won't.
Slight change
I
of topic
think I'm.
before we call
I think I'm out with Zelda. Like I'm disappointed that it's gone the Ubisoft open world second job route. I find that a little bit
Do it, John. Show it.
disappointing.
Did I show these last week? I don't think I did. Did I have these last Saturday?
Give you the spotlight.
This is not for resale. This is a test version. Just a test.
Oh, why is your camera so bad?
Yeah, get in the camera.
There it is. Redfall 8.5.
8.5. There it is.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Game of the generation, Redfall.
If you like my reviews, that's the magazine to get because he stuffed a lot of them.
There's a lot of them in here. Woe Long here. There's what is that? I don't know what that is.
Have we said our hopes and potential plans, but also your camera is barely working?
It looks fine on my screen.
Yeah, for us, it's just breaking up every second or two.
Oh, but yeah, it's a yeah. We're considering, we're toying with an idea of some form of subscription magazine, maybe for patrons, maybe something else. We don't know yet. We're just playing around. We're just playing around. See what comes of it.
I have to admit, I do feel for IGN. Like they hold, whether they know it or not. You know, like the old saying from Spider-Man: "With great power comes great responsibility." And I do wonder if when they review games, I wonder if that factors in on their mind. Like I find the whole video game review industry it's such a loaded minefield in terms of how the whole thing works. Like, you're not obligated to get review codes, as we've discovered. Sony will just outright blacklist you. If they don't like what you're saying about their games, they'll either make phone calls or just blacklist you. Yeah. And you might be like, oh, that's dodgy. It is and it isn't. Because there's no law that says Sony has to give anyone codes for their games. So they're well within their rights to turn around and go, just like I think Bethesda was doing something similar.
Yeah,
there are certain
reviewers, Repop or certain.
Yep, there are certain reviewers that didn't get codes for Starfield because they've said shit about Bethesda in the past or whatever. That's the balancing act. Like,
and it's weird as well because IGN is a global company, and every other IGN were in the 9s and 10s, 9.5s and 10s. It's only the big IGN,
the US one that mattered,
US, that gets the spotlight and has the most weight.
And I wonder if that weighs whoever it is, whether it's the person that reviewed Starfield or someone else. I wonder if that weighs on them. I wonder if that's a thought that crosses their mind that says, my God, like our site's the #1 video game site in the world. We probably have the most weight on Metacritic. I almost single-handedly have the chance to sink this game with my review. For me, that'll forever be the Super Lucky's Tale review.
Yeah.
IGN sunk that game with one review. Sunk it. And again, it wasn't like this fantastic, amazing, unbelievable game, Super Lucky's Tale. But to me, it was a solid 7 out of 10, little 3D platformer.
What did they give it?
5.
Wow. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, that was Ryan.
It's not that it doesn't have its problems, like the camera, like how it's not a full 3D camera and other little things here and there. But for what it was and for its audience, it was a solid little game, Super Lucky's Tale. But that one review sunk the entire... Didn't matter what other reviews said. IGN's got the loudest voice. IGN's got the most influence. So that one review... And again, I'm not saying that was Ryan trying to sink that game. That's his score. That's what he gave it. That's what he thought of it. He thought it was an average, even though these days 5 is seen as a broken mess, horrible game. That's what he thought of it. He thought it was a 5 out of 10 game. But again, I wonder if that thought crossed his mind that he had the power to completely and utterly sink that game with his review. It must be a lot of pressure. Like, I'm saying I feel for them. Because that's a lot of pressure. Like, my reviews and our reviews to a wider extent mean nothing.
Yeah,
to
we're not
Metacritic.
even a top critic on OpenCritic. It does matter a little for Metacritic. You get a little weighting, but for OpenCritic, we're nothing.
Like if I reviewed Starfield for XboxEra and gave it a 4, it would mean almost nothing to the Metacritic score. But if IGN gave it a 4,
I don't know.
It's funny, Nick. There's not that many times that anything multiplat gets reviewed on Xbox. So if you review an Xbox version of a multiplat game, it ends up mattering for that specific Metacritic because there's like 5, and then PlayStation's
they
got
separate it.
103.
Yeah.
But there's no
separate it
bias in the
instead of-
industry. But they all choose to play elsewhere. Anyway, come on. We were having a short show.
I know.
We
were ending the show, and now we've gone for like an extra hour just talking about this stuff. I don't know. I just reckon we could have like a dedicated 4-hour show just about this stuff and the discussion to be had around it.
Do you know what I'd love to do? I genuinely love to do roundtable discussion with like people from like get Destin on, get Grub on, and actually have a roundtable discussion about. Do you know what I mean?
Know the problem? Do you want to know the problem with that? And I'm not. Again, this is not to do with Destin or Grub specifically. Just people in the industry, in the wider industry. I think the reason you probably can't have the review discussion, I think because you're not gonna. I don't know if you'll ever get truly honest answers out of people. And again, this isn't about Grub and Destin. I'm just talking about generally. If you were to try and get people from the industry on to have this discussion, I don't know if you're going to get genuinely honest answers out of people.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a lot of disingenuity involved around it because there's a stigma attached to talking about subconscious biases and all that sort of stuff. There's a stigma around it, like you're accusing someone of something. And I don't choose to view it that way. Like if people want to accuse me or like people say to me, but again, if you don't watch someone and you don't follow someone, then you're not going to, like people tag me on Twitter, you're Xbox, so you just love this and you just love that. And it's like, do you watch me at all and understand the fact that I don't play Xbox games? Like, I like the Xbox platform. It is my favorite platform, but I don't actually play many Xbox games. But I like the platform. The ecosystem is what I like. In terms of, like my subconscious bias goes back to when I was a kid, and it was the Sega and Nintendo console war. So that's where my subconscious bias sits. Which is why I'm so excited for Sonic Superstars and Super Mario Wonder and that style of game because that's what I grew up on. But that doesn't mean I can't enjoy today's AAA whatever. If it's a good game, it's a good game. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people aren't honest enough about their own subconscious bias or their own biases. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I outwardly admit that I'm not a fan of JRPGs. So I'm not going to ask to review one. So if there's a certain person at a certain outlet that doesn't particularly like Xbox, that's okay. There's no law against not liking Xbox or not liking PlayStation or not liking Nintendo. There's no law against it. You can choose to like or hate whatever platform you like. My issue is try and be honest enough, try and be objective enough to maybe take yourself away, especially when you're part of an outlet with such a powerful, loud voice. And whether you know it or not, there's a responsibility there, whether you know it or not, because you wield that power with your review. So if you know that you're just not the biggest fan of Xbox, that's okay. Maybe don't review a big, massive AAA Xbox game. If you know that deep down, you're just not a massive Xbox fan, that's okay. You don't have to be. But maybe don't review their games then. Same way, if Jesse was going to review Super Mario Brothers Wonder and I was going to review Super Mario Brothers Wonder, fun fact, you're probably going to get two wildly different scores.
I wouldn't be low. I would still give Odyssey like at least probably a 9. I tease you about the 6. It's a great game. I wouldn't be that low. I just like teasing you. But yes, I would definitely trend lower on certain things that you like, and you would trend lower on certain things I like, a lot lower. So,
like, I know what I like and don't like, so I'm not going to ask to review something that Like, especially if there's a real hardcore fan base for that. It'd be silly of me to review it because then I'm going to give it a low score.
We're not looking for fans who are going to give it a high score. We're looking for people who are interested in playing it.
Yes.
Into the genre. And
yes, that's right. Yeah, it's not about fans. Like, I didn't give Double Dragon Gaiden a massive score, but I know my beat-em-ups and I love my beat-em-ups. So I'm coming at that review from an angle of someone who knows beat-em-ups in and out. And I still gave it, again, by the proper 10-point scale. Did I give it? I think it was a 7. I can't remember. Double Dragon. I think I gave it a 7.
I think you're around there, yeah.
Remember. That's still a good score if you're using the 10-point scale. And Double Dragon Gaiden is a good game. It is. But, there were things about it. Like, in my reviews, even when I've got something negative to say, I try and put a positive light on it. So I'll say something like, they're so close, there's something there, but it's not quite whatever, rather than say, this game sucked, and the graphics are shit, and I'll try and say something positive and even in the negative, because I just feel bad. Like, people worked hard on that. People put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and here I am, just some idiot going, looks like shit.
Whatevs. Yeah.
Like, it's this weird, it's tough, man. Like, I don't like doing it.
Yeah, it's for me, after doing so many, my approach is I'm going to give you my subjective opinion on how I felt playing it. But while I do that, I'm going to wrap it around all the info I can give just about the game that is more objective, so that you like, oh, well, he didn't like it, but that sounds great to me. Like a lot of people had with Armored Core. Like, I didn't enjoy it in the end, but I talked about how much, how good the controls can feel and all the various things. So it's like, even if you don't agree with my score, at the very least, you're learning more about the game and understanding why I got there.
But you know what the funniest part is? People go on about your 6.5 for Armored Core. I even see someone in the chat now. If I reviewed Armored Core, I don't like From games. I don't like mech games mostly. I loved Virtual On.
Mecha. You got to say Mecha.
See? Bias. I love Sega. So I loved Virtual On. But I don't like mecha games normally. I don't like From games, and I don't like hard games. So guess what I would have given Armored Core? Imagine what the reaction would have been if I had reviewed Armored Core. Probably would have given it like a 5 or a 4. And everyone would be like, oh my God, because of the fanboy scale.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, you gotta, man. We could go for another 3 hours talking about this.
We could, but we're not going to. We're going to call it because it's 2 a.m. and I want to go to sleep. So, as always, chat, thanks for hanging out, sticking around. Hit that like button if you haven't yet, because it really does help us out. Big thank you to MVG for hopping on for the 5th time. Nick, have a wonderful Father's Day. Jesse, enjoy that game that you can't talk about that you're reviewing.
I might be able to. I don't know. I'll ask. It's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. And we will see you, all of you, next time around.
Ciao for now.